Chapter 2352. Her cultivation level hasn't changed, but she's much stronger now. She must have merged her reincarnated body with her original body. None of us can stop her now, and we can't fight against her even if we join forces. Yi Tianxin said. She originally thought that she was invincible under the Divine Emperor realm, but now she realized that wasn't the case. Demon Nine Cloud's original body had gone through the God-destroying tribulation, so there was still a big difference between them. She retreated. Is there a fortune-teller here? Divine where she is and where to attack. Knight Sorrow's face was full of murderous intent because he was very angry. Don't get too worked up. Let's go in and have some tea while we talk, Yi Tianxin said to Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He followed Yi Tianxin and Tran Hung into the city lord's mansion. Lin Piaomiao then told them the details of what had just happened. She only gave us 3 months to fight. This is a drastic measure. It seems that she's going all out now. Knight Sorrow was a little angry. During your first battle, she was still very magnanimous. Now, it's a pure war. She's unscrupulous, King Yawu said. Demon Nine Clouds only gave them 3 months after guessing that Knight Sorrow was in seclusion. He was forcing them step by step and was using the rules of war. Don't worry. I'm almost done settling down. Let's find someone to divine where she is and whether she's attacking us somewhere else, Knight Sorrow said. At this time, someone came to report that Demon Nine Clouds was in the city lord's mansion of the ethereal imperial city and had issued an ultimatum. 5#*Z, a month later, my heaven realm will be bathed in blood, heh. Yi Shang laughed, because Mo Jiuyan was really going to use underhanded methods. Then hurry up and stabilize your cultivation level, Sect Elder Duan said. It doesn't matter if we wait for a month before we start massacring the celestial realm. This will give us some time to prepare, Knight Sorrow said. We're relieved that you've come out. What's the situation now? Yi Tianxin asked. After Knight Sorrow explained his situation, he inquired about Demon Nine Clouds' situation. After abandoning the 2 doppelgangers, the main body's combat power has increased by 45%. How much do you think Demon Nine Clouds' combat power has increased? An increase of 45%? How incredible. That Demon Nine Clouds only improved by about 20%. The gap between you and him has widened again. Yi Tianxin was stunned. As for the specifics, we'll only know after the battle, Knight Sorrow said. Knight Sorrow's combat power has increased a lot. First of all, he has 3 doppelgangers. In addition, his doppelgangers have never fallen. After the soul fusion, they are perfect, King Yawu said. He knew Knight Sorrow's situation very well. Knight Sorrow, don't worry about that. Stabilize your cultivation level first and fight her with your peak combat power. I have to go into seclusion as well. I have to give it my all, Tran Hung said to Knight Sorrow. Tran Hung, are you going to cultivate the heaven-defying technique? King Yawu asked Tran Hung. Yes, the situation in the celestial realm is not very good. In addition, I have to prepare for the God-destroying tribulation. I can't leave all the matters in the celestial realm to Knight Sorrow. Tran Hung nodded. Knight Sorrow looked at Tran Hung. He instinctively knew that the secret technique Tran Hung was going to cultivate was risky, but he didn't know how to persuade her. This was because Tran Hung was also working hard for the God-destroying tribulation. It was also his own path. Without asking, Knight Sorrow chatted for a while. Then, he told everyone that he was going to stabilize his cultivation level in a normal state. If there were any problems, inform him. It wouldn't affect him. After explaining, Knight Sorrow left Xingyu's city and returned to the Heaven Sealing Hall to continue stabilizing his cultivation level. In 1 month's time, he could cultivate for 5 years. This time was enough for him. He had already stabilized his cultivation level for a period of time. Tran Hung also went into seclusion in Xingyu's city. Then, King Yawu told Yi Tianxin, Lin Piaomiao, and the others about the heaven-defying technique. The heaven-defying technique was a secret technique that could only be cultivated by cultivators in the divine soul unification realm. It required the cultivator to split his soul into two and then fuse his soul into one. This was very risky. It was against the heavens. If it failed, the cultivator's soul would be destroyed. If it succeeded, the cultivator's strength would soar. The heaven-defying technique was a secret technique inheritance that Tran Hung obtained in the ancient world. He had discussed it with King Yawu. After some analysis, they came to the conclusion that the success rate was very low. Now was a critical moment. Tran Hung chose to give it a try. In the past, he was the #1 expert in the celestial realm. Now that he was suppressed by Demon Nine Clouds, he naturally didn't want to give it a try. Yi Tianxin and the others were also helpless. Everyone had their own ambitions. If there was a chance, they would have to give it a try. This was also a preparation for the divine tribulation. Night Sorrow and Tran Hung went into seclusion. The clan elder council was still in operation. The clan elder's original body in Xingyu's city still had clones outside. They could still mobilize people. Demon Nine Clouds stayed in ethereal Imperial City. She also entered the spatial treasure to stabilize her cultivation level. She had just broken through. Before going into seclusion, Demon Nine Clouds ordered Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian not to act recklessly. But Mo Yuqing, who didn't hear this, felt that the Night Moon Villa was not bad. She brought the two of them to stay in the Night Moon Villa. Lin Piaomiao was furious when she heard this news. Even Demon Nine Clouds didn't want to stay. A piece of trash is staying in. I will definitely kill her. Lin Piaomiao's face was covered with frost. She was really angry. Night Moon Villa was home. It was Night Sorrow's and her home. Now that someone had moved in, it was a slap in the face. Don't be anxious. Those who can do this are not very capable. When Night Sorrow comes out of seclusion, we will kill her and directly take her life, Yi Tianxin said. Yi Tianxin wasn't a good-tempered person. Mo Yuqing's actions not only made Lin Piaomiao angry, she was also very angry. Because she liked the Night Moon Villa and had stayed in the Night Moon Villa before. Night Sorrow didn't know about this matter. He stayed in the soul-nurturing palace in the heaven-sealing palace hall, stabilizing his cultivation while continuing to strengthen his soul. This time, Night Sorrow had made arrangements. He told the 9-domain world origin body to call him on the 28th day. He couldn't miss this time. If Demon Nine Clouds really wanted to massacre the celestial realm, then he would be responsible. Therefore, he had to stop it. On the 28th day, Night Sorrow was awakened by the 9-domain world origin body. He had also finished his cultivation and his cultivation level had completely stabilized. After returning home and drinking a cup of tea with his parents, Night Sorrow arrived at Star Moon City. Tran Hung was still in seclusion. After all, cultivating a secret art was different from Night Sorrow, who was only stabilizing his cultivation level. It required a lot of time. When he arrived at Star Moon Villa, Night Sorrow saw Yi Tianxin, King Yawu, Sect Elder Duan, Lin Piaomiao and the others. Done stabilizing? Yi Tianxin looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Done. Feel free to fight. Night Sorrow smiled. Night Sorrow, our house has been occupied. Lin Piaomiao said. Which house? Who occupied it? Night Sorrow was stunned. Our Night Moon Villa has been occupied by a woman from the Demon Wing clan. She is the follower behind Demon Nine Clouds. Lin Piaomiao said. Chapter 2353. Night Sorrow was not afraid of fighting. Now that Demon Nine Clouds had come out, he would kill. Since someone had occupied his residence, he would not be polite. Seeing that Night Sorrow had set out, Yi Tianxin, King Yawu, Elder Duan, Lin Piaomiao, Pu Luo, and the other enforcement elders of the Council of Elders also followed. If Night Sorrow could deal with Demon Nine Clouds, then Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian would not be enough to deal with Yi Tianxin, King Yawu, and Elder Duan, so there was no danger. When they arrived at the ethereal Imperial City area, Night Sorrow flung his sleeve, and energy wrapped around a group of people as they flew rapidly. In just a moment, they had arrived at the Night Moon Villa in the city. With the release of Night Sorrow's Dao domain, the very surprised Emo Yuching was directly forced to kneel on the ground, without the slightest strength to resist. The other two First Emperor Tribulation Demon Winged Race people were directly killed by Yi Tianxin. With his left hand stretched out, Night Sorrow grabbed Emo Yuching in front of him. "You can't kill me, the Demon Empress will not let you go." Emo Yuching was dumbfounded. "Scare me? Are you out of your mind? I dare to come here, do you think I will be afraid? I will kill you in front of her. She will be here soon." Night Sorrow smiled. Emo Yuching used Demon Nine Clouds to scare him, but he was brainless. In addition, Night Sorrow discovered that Demon Nine Clouds had come. When they arrived near the ethereal Imperial City, Night Sorrow led everyone to fly quickly, in order to race against time. Before Demon Nine Clouds could react, they had to get rid of Emo Yuching who had occupied his residence. Demon Nine Clouds took Emo Zhantian, Emo Yutian, and the others to the Night Moon Villa. Night Sorrow clasped Dark Feather's shoulder with his left hand, looking at Demon Nine Clouds. Demon Nine Clouds had used the time limit twice to force him, and even threatened to massacre the celestial realm. Night Sorrow was already angry, because Demon Nine Clouds did not care about old friendships, and was playing with pure war. "You're finally here," Demon Nine Clouds said as he looked at Night Sorrow. "You have to come. If you don't come, you're going to wash the celestial realm with blood." "Demon Nine Clouds, are you going to take over my mansion, my home?" Night Sorrow asked Demon Nine Clouds. "Demon Nine Clouds. I told you not to mess around. Why did you enter this mansion?" After Demon Nine Clouds whispered his name, he looked at Emo Zhantian and Emo Yutian. He knew that Night Sorrow called him by his full name, which meant that he no longer cared about personal feelings. "We don't know about this matter. She acted on her own initiative," Emo Zhantian said. "No one is willing to take responsibility. Then it's easy." Night Sorrow's left hand burst with energy, and the head of Emo Yuching, who had the cultivation of the tribulation of the three emperors, was shattered, and his soul was destroyed. Now that Night Sorrow had dealt with Emo Yuching, he did not need to deliberately attack Emo Yuching's soul, and directly killed him. Demon Nine Clouds' face was filled with murderous intent, because Night Sorrow had slapped him in the face. This was a declaration of war without any leeway. "My home, is it something that others can take over just because they want to? As a person, one should tailor one's clothes according to one's ability. Demon Nine Clouds, if you want to fight, I will fight with you." Night Sorrow flung his sleeve, sending Yi Tianxin and the others far away, and then raised his right hand, holding the Samsara halberd in his hand. Demon Nine Clouds also took out his halberd. She knew that giving him a month's time was too much, and Night Sorrow would have finished his closed-door training. This was something she did not think about, because 1 month was really not enough to do anything in the world of cultivators. She decided to be very cautious, but she still gave Night Sorrow a chance to rise. As Night Sorrow's Samsara halberd smashed down, Demon Nine Clouds' body floated back, and he left the Night Moon Mansion. It was not that she cherished the Night Moon Mansion, but she felt that the domineering aura of the Samsara halberd was invincible. As Demon Nine Clouds retreated, Night Sorrow naturally chased after him. The two of them fought in the air outside the Night Moon Mansion. After the battle, Demon Nine Clouds finally understood how much Night Sorrow had improved during this period of time. The speed that she was proud of was useless in front of Night Sorrow, and the strength that she used to excel in was also useless in front of Night Sorrow. Her attributes were also suppressed. She was the same as Tran Hung and the others. Her taboo attribute was at the intermediate level, and it could not be compared to Night Sorrow's top-tier taboo attribute. As for the soul attack, Demon Nine Clouds did not use it, because she knew that it was useless. Night Sorrow had the 9 Regions Origin Pearl to protect his spirit sea. She knew this. If she used the soul attack, it would attract Night Sorrow's soul attack, and she would be in an even more passive position. The battle was very intense, and Mo Jillian was losing ground bit by bit. She tried to hold on, but after the halberds clashed once, the web between her thumb and index finger was torn, and the tendons in her arms were damaged. If they clashed a few more times, her arms would be gone. In terms of speed and movement techniques, Night Sorrow's space-time realm and void steps were much faster than her. Demon Nine Clouds was beaten up passively. She and Night Sorrow were not on the same level, and their combat power was not on the same level. In just 10 minutes, Demon Nine Clouds was injured. Night Sorrow's halberd pierced through her chest, and a bloody hole appeared. "You are strong enough. I admit that I am not your match now. Let's fight again next time." Demon Nine Clouds flashed and retreated. First 6 shots. However, Night Sorrow would not let her go so easily. With the suppression of her precept domain and the control of the human Emperor's seal, she continued to attack Demon Nine Clouds. Crushing. Yi Shang was able to suppress Zhu Jiuyan completely. Mo Jillian was also able to fuse several bodies into one. However, her original body's soul was incomplete, so she wasn't in the perfect state. She couldn't compare to Yi Shang at all. Yi Shang was also able to fuse several bodies into one. However, her original body's soul was incomplete, so she wasn't in the perfect state. She couldn't compare with Yi Shang. Demon Nine Clouds kept retreating, but her injuries were getting worse. At this moment, Night Sorrow was the god of war. She could not withstand any of his attacks. "Submit, and I will give you one more chance." Night Sorrow waved her halberd and shouted, "Seal." At this moment, Demon Nine Clouds waved her hand and shot out a yellow energy ball. The energy ball exploded and wrapped around Night Sorrow. Then, Demon Nine Clouds did not attack anyone. She quickly retreated with Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian wrapped in the energy ball. After Night Sorrow broke free from the yellow energy ball, Demon Nine Clouds, Mo Zhantian, and Mo Yutian disappeared. The rest, kill. Night Sorrow charged towards the remaining Demon Winged Clan members. Yi Tianxin, King Yowu, Sect Elder Duan, and the others attacked the experts of the Demon Winged Clan under Demon Nine Clouds' command. Without their top experts, the Demon Winged Clan members could not resist at all. Soon, they were all killed. Senior Uncle, Sister Xian, arranged for someone to perform divination and dig out the 3 of them. Night Sorrow said. He was a little annoyed. Originally, they could have solved this crisis. But because of the secret treasure that Demon Nine Clouds threw out at the end, all their efforts were in vain. They probably won't show up in a short time. Besides, they won't dare to show up because they are not your opponent. If not for the secret treasure protecting her, she wouldn't have been able to escape today. Yi Tianxin said. In the battle between Night Sorrow and Demon Nine Clouds, anyone with a discerning eye could see that the gap between them was huge. It was so huge that the former could be crushed and killed. At the last moment, Demon Nine Clouds used the secret treasure to buy himself a way out. Chapter 2354. I know that secret treasure. It's an eye of the ancestor of the demon wings. Back then, the ancestor of the demon wings failed to pass the god-destroying trial and left behind a skull. The skull is in the destroyed demon imperial city. 2 eyes were left behind and became secret treasures. Many reincarnations ago, one was used. The other was in the hands of the ancestor of the demon wings. Now that the ancestor of the demon wings has used it, she can't win the battle and she doesn't have any life-saving methods. It's possible that she will attempt the god-destroying trial, said the heavenly concubine. Hearing Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine's words, everyone was silent. This was another difficult problem. The battle just now made everyone understand, including Demon Nine Clouds himself. The difference between her and Night Sorrow was huge. The next time they met, she wouldn't have any secret treasures. Her life would be a problem. Under such circumstances, the only choice was to attempt the god-destroying trial. Originally, she had a long lifespan. But after she mastered the forbidden attribute, she only has 1 era left. Maybe she will attempt the god-destroying trial soon, said King Yawu. Then here's the problem. Will Night Sorrow attempt the god-destroying trial or not? It's risky. If it doesn't go well, she will win without a fight. If she doesn't attempt the god-destroying trial, she will attempt the god-destroying trial first. If she succeeds, we will be in trouble again. Lin Piao Miao was annoyed. It was a difficult choice. The problem is that no one knows the difference between a half-step divine emperor and a divine emperor. If the difference isn't big, then Night Sorrow can still fight. If the difference is big, then it's not good, said Yi Tianxin. A tangled problem was in front of everyone. Originally, Yi Shan's situation had been very good. He had been able to completely dominate an epoch. However, Mo Jiuyun's return had broken this. It doesn't matter if you don't let me live a peaceful life. I'll give it my all. Yi Shan exhaled and smiled. /DL head unspecified currency, C0. Everyone in the Night Moon Villa looked at Night Sorrow. Everyone had different feelings. They were sad. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow originally had a good life. As long as he returned to the Nine Domains world, no one could do anything to him. The current Night Sorrow might not be able to defeat the demon Nine Clouds in the celestial realm, but he definitely could in the Nine Domains world because that was his home ground. Night Sorrow, I'm sorry. It's our incompetence as elders. King Yawu's eyes were filled with regret. It was the same for Elder Duan and the others as well. Originally, a cycle of life was not a problem. But now that it has been shortened to an era, it has to be shortened again. Lin Piao Miao's eyes were red. Because it was her husband who had to take the risk. Sister Xian Air, maybe this is the beginning of eternity. There are no records of the god-destroying tribulation, no divine emperor realm cultivator. Maybe I will be the one to write this chapter. Night Sorrow didn't care about what other people thought. He stood up and hugged Lin Piaomiao before leaving in a flash. He wanted to go home. Seeing Night Sorrow leave, Yi Tianxin and the others were filled with guilt. When they reached the Nine Domains world, Night Sorrow let go of Lin Piaomiao and helped her tidy up her hair. Sister Xian Air, when you go home, don't talk about the results of our analysis. Just talk about the victory. I will. Lin Piaomiao turned her head away. Night Sorrow's words made her heart ache even more. At this point, Night Sorrow still didn't want his family to worry. Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao returned to the city in the sky and told their family about their victory. Father is mighty. Yi Xiaolei shook Night Sorrow's shoulder and said. You are indeed mighty. Can you be more mighty? When are you going to bring the other half back for me to see? Night Sorrow looked at his daughter and asked with a smile. I will hurry. I will cook for you later. Yi Xiaolei pulled Night Sorrow to sit down and said. Okay, you can do that. Night Sorrow nodded. Both of his daughters were very considerate and reasonable. They didn't have any temper. This was what Night Sorrow was most assured about. Yi Xiaolei went to the kitchen. Night Sorrow took the tea that Yang Lei handed him and drank it. He then looked at Yi Xiaoluo and Yi Xiaokei. Your elder sister and junior brother Gu Yi are doing well. Father can rest assured. Only your third sister is left. Remember, if anyone bullies her or makes her unhappy, kill them. Yes. Although Yi Xiaoluo and Yi Xiaokei were a little confused, they still bowed and accepted the order. They didn't understand why their father suddenly said this. Not only were Yi Xiaoluo and Yi Xiaokei confused, the others also didn't understand because Night Sorrow rarely said the word kill. He also rarely had the intention to kill. Only Lin Piaomiao understood that Night Sorrow was worried that she wouldn't be able to pass the god-destroying tribulation smoothly. Therefore, he told them what he was worried about. You've all achieved something. You're all the pillars of the family. That's pretty good. Night Sorrow said with a smile. What's wrong with you today? You're speaking so stupidly. Yu Qing stood up and slapped her son. Stupidly. Night Sorrow rubbed his head and smiled. Grandma, Do you know that my father is now the supreme figure of the 100 clans of the celestial realm and the 9 domains world? You're the only one who can hit him. Yi Xiaokei said. What's wrong with me hitting him? You're the only one who's capable now. Your father didn't even dodge when I hit him. When I wanted to hit you, you dared to run. If you run again next time, your father will break your legs. Yu Qing glared at Yi Xiaokei. Grandma, you're still complaining. I just ran once. I won't run next time. Seeing that his father, mother, and aunt were all looking at him, Yi Xiaokei's voice was so low that it was almost inaudible. Our family is the only one who's in this situation now. In the celestial realm, many imperial realm cultivators have lost their families. They don't even have the chance to be scolded by their families, Lin Piaomio said. She was deeply aware of this point. Xiaokei is very obedient. He's just trying to make me happy. Look at you guys. Don't scare the child. Yu Qing pulled Yi Xiaokei to her side. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. He knew that his children were very filial and worry-free. After having dinner with his family, Night Sorrow went to the wooden boat on the lake. He wanted to calm down because he was about to break through the biggest hurdle of his life. It was also a hurdle that countless top-notch cultivators had to endure. It was the God-destroying tribulation. Lin Piaomiao went to the wooden boat. Night Sorrow, aren't you going to tell your family? This is a big deal. Let's not talk about it. I don't want them to worry. Night Sorrow said. It's nothing. If there's anything, we'll face it together as a family. Lin Piaomiao said. We'll talk about it when the time comes. I'm going to rest for a while. Demon Nine Cloud's injuries are more serious. Even if she wants to break through the God-destroying tribulation, she'll need time. Night Sorrow said. Night Moon Villa was very depressing. Everyone was thinking about Night Sorrow's God-destroying tribulation. Chapter 23:55. Yi Tianxin shook her head. She really didn't know what Night Sorrow's title was. Immortal Godly Emperor. This is the title given by the Origin Universe Sovereign of the Celestial Realm. This means that he has a high chance of passing the God-destroying tribulation. His aptitude far surpasses that of his predecessors. Which Grand Emperor of Merit has achieved this? In addition, his body is strong. It's not something that other cultivators can compare to. Demon Nine Clouds' body is one that has passed the God-destroying tribulation. But so what? He's still not as good as Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's weakness is his soul. If his soul is strong enough, then passing the God-destroying tribulation shouldn't be a problem, said Elder Duan. Immortal Godly Emperor. I can only wish him well, said Yi Tianxin. The others nodded. At this moment, they could only wish Night Sorrow well. Demon Nine Clouds brought Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian back to the realm. After changing their location, they entered the spatial treasure. After doing this, Demon Nine Clouds spat out a mouthful of blood. Lord Demon Emperor. Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian's expressions changed. Demon Nine Clouds' situation wasn't good. Waving her hand, Demon Nine Clouds wiped the corner of her mouth with a handkerchief. Night Sorrow is invincible. He's truly invincible under the Godly Emperor realm. It's not the Godly Emperor realm where he can kill whoever he wants. It's a huge difference. Why is it like this? Mo Yutian was unwilling to accept this. The victory that was in his hands had disappeared. I originally thought that giving him a month's time was a mistake. In fact, it wasn't. Night Sorrow's cultivation is very stable. He should have finished his breakthrough a month ago. Tran Hung, King Yowu, and the others thought that he was in seclusion and didn't call him. If we did, we would have lost a month ago. Demon Nine Cloud said. She was the demon ancestor. Before the God-destroying tribulation, she had lived a reincarnation cycle. Therefore, she had her own analysis of everything. How did he cultivate so fast? The heavenly Tao is unfair. Yu Tianmo's eyes were red. There's a reason why he can cultivate so quickly. He has talent, opportunity, and hard work. He's a meritorious body and has been blessed by the heavenly Tao along the way. In addition, he's using the method of proving his Tao through strength to increase his realm. His cultivation is unstoppable. Also, he really has put in a lot of effort, Demon Nine Cloud said. She had been with Night Sorrow for a long time, so she knew Night Sorrow very well. Then what should we do? Should we return to Tianhuang region? Mo Zhantian looked at Demon Nine Clouds. No, he's invincible under the Godly Emperor layer, but what about Godly Emperors? I want to make a bet, Demon Nine Clouds said. During the battle with Night Sorrow, Demon Nine Clouds had been injured, but his source energy had not been damaged. He would be fine after some recovery. She had thought of this as well, so she had immediately used her secret artifact to retreat after being injured. Lord Demon Emperor, if we can't do it, then let's retreat. You've just returned and you want to risk it all. The price is too high, Mo Zhantian said. I have to risk it all. I'm the same as Night Sorrow. I've come into contact with the forbidden energy. We both have a lifespan of an era, so we have to risk it all. Demon Nine Clouds shook his head. There were some things that could not be helped. Mo Zhantian and Yutian Mo did not say anything else. Demon Nine Clouds had already made his decision. Night Sorrow stayed in the Nine Regions world. The heavenly concubine had also returned. Yi Tianxin had also arrived at the Nine Regions city. They knew that Demon Nine Clouds would not appear before he was certain. The celestial realm was safe. They saw Night Sorrow at the lake in Sky City. Night Sorrow and his wives were drinking tea and chatting. The heavenly concubine looked at Night Sorrow and said, Night Sorrow, don't compete with Demon Nine Clouds in terms of speed. The two of you have lived for different years. She has lived for a long time, and she has a deep foundation and experience. You can try when you are certain. This is something that has a deep meaning to the celestial realm's 100 races and the 9 regions world tree. We cannot afford to fail. Night Sorrow smiled and said, Thank you. I will settle down for a while. Besides, Demon Nine Clouds won't be able to transcend the tribulation so quickly. Her injuries are not light. She will need some time to recover. It will be impossible for her to recover to her peak state without a period of time. Yi Tianxin was a little angry. How pressuring. Otherwise, she can settle down for an era. What is this? Night Sorrow smiled and said, Sometimes, you have to believe in fate. Of course, whether or not you accept it is another matter. I believe in fate, but I don't accept it. That's right. If you had accepted your fate, you would probably be a bumpkin in Eastern Xian region right now, not to mention having so many beautiful wives. Yang Lei smiled and said. Did anyone say they were as pretty as a flower? Yi Shan muttered as he looked at Yang Lei. What do you mean? Are you saying that I am old? I am about the same as before. Yang Lei looked at herself. Of course not. You will always be the most beautiful in my heart. You are the flowers that will never wither. Night Sorrow said. You really know how to coax people. I have to hand it to you. The heavenly concubine shook her head. You are wrong. I am not coaxing people. I am treating them sincerely. Night Sorrow corrected the heavenly concubine. You win. Now, you are the biggest winner in life. Your wives and children are all emperors. Who can compare to you? The heavenly concubine looked at Night Sorrow with disdain. Zi Song Fu Hai, everyone chatted casually. Night Sorrow didn't need to cultivate now. He just needed to settle down. Everything in the celestial realm had returned to normal. As for being attacked, the 100 races in the celestial realm weren't afraid. Demon Nine Clouds could only attack one place. Before he could attack a second place, the 100 races in the celestial realm would react. If Night Sorrow caught her shadow again, she would be dead for sure. Last time, she had a secret treasure. How could she escape this time? Yi Tianxin stayed at the heavenly concubine's residence. The two of them got along quite well. Their levels were about the same, so they could communicate. As for Yi Shang, he stayed at home. Sometimes, he would walk around and see his brothers in the god-slaying team and drink with them. The god-slaying team was a legend in the Nine Regions world. They had followed Realm Lord Night Sorrow and fought countless battles. None of them had fallen. Moreover, all of them were emperors. Those who didn't join back then had all become emperors after 2,000 years of hard work. It was simply a legend. The status of the members of the god-slaying team was also very high. They were all brothers of Realm Lord Night Sorrow. Every one of them was very broad-minded. The regions that they managed were all very peaceful, and they handled matters very fairly. This time, Night Sorrow went to the Qingtian region to see Long Jin. When Night Sorrow arrived, Long Jin, who was lying in the courtyard and sunbathing, was very happy. He called for his wife to bring over wine in dragon language and opened it. Both of them had big bowls. We all know about the previous battle. It's a pity that we didn't make it in time to see it. Long Jin said. It's okay. Are you used to this place? Lord Golden Dragon King didn't catch you? Night Sorrow asked with a smile. He won't. He doesn't need to worry about me in the Nine Regions world. However, if Dragon Language and I have dragon children, we must send them back. Long Jin said. Then hurry up. As your uncle, I will prepare a greeting gift. Night Sorrow said. Chapter 2356. It's nothing much. After a while, I'll go into seclusion. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Something's still not right. You can't hide anything from your brothers. Long Jin said. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow nodded. Then I'll tell you. I plan to go through the god-destroying tribulation after resting for a while. But you know the risks, so if something happens to me, help me take care of my family. Because they were brothers, Night Sorrow didn't want to hide it from Long Jin. Brother. Must you go through the god-destroying tribulation? Aren't we fine now? After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the dish in dragon language's hand fell to the ground and shattered. Because Night Sorrow treated her like a sister, Night Sorrow was her closest brother. Dragon language, I won't hide it from you guys. The situation isn't good. Night Sorrow told Long Jin and Dragon language about the current situation without hiding anything. No way. Why do you have to be at the front every time something happens? Elder brother is the supreme realm lord of the Nine Regions world, not a pawn to charge and break through enemy lines, no. Long Yu roared in dissatisfaction. Dragon language, calm down first and listen to me. There are things that people do and don't do. I don't want to avoid some responsibilities. If I do, I won't be able to face myself in the future. Don't worry, I still have some confidence. Night Sorrow nodded with a smile. Captain, I won't say anything to persuade you, nor will I drag you down. You don't have to worry about some things. We're brothers who go through life and death together. Your matter is my matter. Long Jin nodded. With you and the brothers of the God-killing squad, I don't have to worry about anything. Night Sorrow drank a big bowl of wine. You can do it. There's nothing that you and us brothers can't do in this world. Long Jin said. Night Sorrow didn't mention this matter again. He just drank with Long Jin and talked about the past. Captain, it's not that I want to criticize you, but how much trouble have you caused because of your kindness? In the First Realm War, the world they conquered was the Profound Mysteries realm. Lord Heavenly Concubine had a disturbance, but fortunately, the disturbance was resolved. The Second Realm War was in the Netherworld realm, and you didn't attack ruthlessly. Fine. You've made an even bigger mess this time, Long Jin said as he poured a cup of wine for Yi Shang. It's easy for you to say that. Those are all fresh lives. Do you really want to eradicate them all? How could you do such a thing? For you to be able to do such a thing, I have to say I admire you. Yi Shan looked at Long Jin with disdain. Haha. I wouldn't do it anyway. Long Jin laughed. He and Night Sorrow were the same kind of people. They had a bottom line when doing things. There were some things that they wouldn't do. After staying in Long Jin's mansion for a while, Night Sorrow left. What kind of world is this? Why does Big Brother have to shoulder everything? Dragon Language kicked a stool into pieces. With great power comes great responsibility. Captain has a good relationship with the higher-ups of the Heaven Realm's 100 clans. There are some things that he can't just sit by and do nothing, Long Jin said. Night Sorrow walked around the 9-domain world and looked at the mountains and rivers of the 9-domain world. In this state, Night Sorrow spent 100 years. He felt that it was about time. Firstly, his state of mind was very stable. Secondly, Demon 9 Clouds should have recovered after 100 years of cultivation. If he let Demon 9 Clouds go through the tribulation first, and if he succeeded, no one could stop him. In a small courtyard in Bamboo Garden City, Night Sorrow closed the book in his hand. Pack up. You don't have to come to class tomorrow. Teacher, are you giving us a holiday? There were more than 20 children in the courtyard. No, I have something to do. I can't stay here. Remember what I said. If you want to be a good person, you must have a progressive heart. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Teacher, we want to learn martial arts. You said that we should go to class obediently and teach us martial arts. We want to protect the 9-domain world. A boy said. Teacher doesn't have time for this. However, he has arrangements. Zhang Ling is here to see him. Night Sorrow raised his head and shouted. At this moment, Zhang Ling, who was drinking tea in the Bamboo Garden City Lord's mansion, was shocked. He quickly flew towards the source of the voice. He knew who was here. Entering the courtyard, Zhang Ling bowed and greeted, "Greetings, Realm Lord." "Get up. We disciples of the Medicine Valley can't be so polite." Night Sorrow waved his hand and helped Zhang Ling up. "When did you come, Realm Lord?" Zhang Ling asked with some embarrassment. He didn't know that Night Sorrow was here. 10 years. I have been a teacher here for 10 years. I have taught many children. I have to leave. However, I promised them that I would let them embark on the path of cultivation. Help me send them to the Taixian Peak in the Medicine Valley and hand them over to Chiue and Ningyun. Night Sorrow's body gradually faded after he finished speaking. He had already left. "Farewell, Realm Lord." Zhang Ling bowed and shouted. At the same time, he heaved a sigh of relief. He felt a lot of pressure. "Little guys, you are about to embark on a glorious path," Zhang Ling said. Most $new T chapters are supra unspecified currency B, you are the city lord. I have seen you speak before. What's wrong with our teacher? An older girl asked. The teacher is the Lord's Lord. You will understand in the future. Remember his name. His name is Night Sorrow. Gather at the City Lord's mansion in half a month. I will send you to the Medicine Valley. Zhang Ling instructed the children. Night Sorrow left. He became a teacher because when he came to Bamboo Garden City, he remembered that he had never gone to school when he was studying under the guidance of Father Gu. Therefore, he became a teacher for 10 years. He was very famous in this corner of Bamboo Garden City because he never accepted gifts when he taught students. After leaving Bamboo Garden City, Night Sorrow directly returned to the city in the sky. When he was a teacher, he often returned to the city in the sky. Traveling was nothing to him. Our teacher is back. How are your children? Yang Lei said with a smile when she saw Night Sorrow return. They are doing well. I have also made it clear that I will not go there in the future. Those children will have a bright future. Night Sorrow said. After staying at home for 2 days, Night Sorrow left and entered the wilderness outside the city in the sky. He wanted to organize his thoughts before he went through the God-destroying tribulation. No one followed Night Sorrow. Lin Piao Miao and the others all understood that Night Sorrow, who was no longer a teacher, must have made another decision. In the boundary outside the celestial realm, Demon Nine Clouds used 100 years in the real world and 5,000 years to recover from the time acceleration. Only then did she completely recover from the injury caused by Night Sorrow's halberd piercing her chest. Chapter 2357. Demon Nine Clouds' only choice was to pass the God-destroying tribulation. 100 years ago, the gap between her and Night Sorrow was huge. They were not on the same level. Demon Nine Clouds was very clear about this gap. It was impossible to close it without passing the God-destroying tribulation. Otherwise, let alone defeating Night Sorrow, it would be difficult to even save his life. Even Demon Nine Clouds had some doubts. Even if he passed the God-destroying tribulation, the result of the battle was still unknown. Perhaps he could only remain undefeated, or have some advantages. After all, from being crushed to surpassing, to being able to kill, it required a substantial improvement, and the combat strength needed was not just a little bit. There was no way out. Demon Nine Clouds was very clear that this was because she had hidden well in the past 100 years. She had been in the space treasure, recovering from her injuries in the time acceleration, and did not walk in front of people. If she was caught by the people of the celestial realm, Night Sorrow would have already come. The relationship between the two was already irreconcilable. Thinking of this, Demon Nine Clouds scolded Dark Feather in his heart. Dark Feather lived in the Night Moon Villa, and this was one of the main reasons why Night Sorrow was angry. This violated Night Sorrow's bottom line. Demon Nine Clouds knew best what kind of person Night Sorrow was. Along the way, Night Sorrow was protecting. In order to protect his home, to protect his family, to protect the Nine Domains world. Dark Feather also lived in the Night Moon Villa. This was to challenge Night Sorrow's obsession. While thinking, Demon Nine Clouds went deep into the vast wilderness. Every world had a vast wilderness, and there were rare and uninhabited places. Demon Nine Clouds did this in order to make it impossible for the diviners of the celestial realm to find his location. After finding a more secluded place, Demon Nine Clouds stopped flying, roughly surveyed the surroundings, and decided to rest here. After stabilizing his thoughts and emotions, he attacked the God-destroying tribulation. Coincidentally, when Demon Nine Clouds was stabilizing his thoughts and accumulating momentum, the diviners of the Elders Association Star-Plucking Sect had divined. Sect Elder Star-Plucking Sect, look! That fellow's surroundings have changed. Lightning bolts are swimming all over his body. What is he cultivating? The divination master who had made the divination informed Sect Elder Star-Plucking Sect, who was meditating with his eyes closed. Over the years, the Star-Plucking Sect Elder would arrange for people to do divinations every once in a while. Although he knew that Demon Nine Clouds had been hiding in the space treasure, the Star-Plucking Sect Elder did not give up on divining. Although he could not confirm Demon Nine Clouds' current location, if Demon Nine Clouds moved and appeared in the celestial realm, he would be discovered immediately. Seeing this scene, the Star-Plucking Sect Elder immediately called Elder Duan and Lin Piao. Lin Piao's original body was in the Nine Clouds world, while her battle avatar was in the celestial realm, presiding over the Elders Association's normal operations. Destructive thunder, no. Reincarnation thunder. Mo Jiuyun has accumulated a lot of it. She's accumulating power to break through the God-destroying calamity. Sect Elder Duan's face changed. He was sure of what Mo Jiuyun was trying to do. Where is he? Lin Piao was also a little anxious, because Demon Nine Clouds' opponent was her husband. The situation in the celestial realm was dominated by her husband, Night Sorrow, and Demon Nine Clouds. But now, Demon Nine Clouds had already gone to attack the God-destroying tribulation. Inform Night Sorrow. Tell Night Sorrow about this. Elder Duan said to Lin Piao. Night Sorrow is not in the city in the sky. He left after informing me. Lin Piao shook her head. Then break his spirit crystal. Elder Duan took out a spirit crystal and was about to break it. Night Sorrow had left it for him to send messages. No. We must not disturb him. Lin Piaomiao reached out and stopped Elder Duan, who was about to break Night Sorrow's spirit crystal. We cannot disturb him? Are you saying? Elder Duan looked at Lin Piaomiao. Lin Piaomiao did not speak, but only nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow had decided not to be a teacher and left home. It was very likely that he was going to attack the God-destroying tribulation. It was definitely not a good choice to disturb Night Sorrow at this time. I understand. We almost delayed something important. Inform the people to go to Xingyue City. Whether he comes or not, we cannot let anything happen to Xingyue City. Night Sorrow is not here, we can only consider defending Xingyue City. The Grand Elder said. After making the decision, Lin Piaomiao sent someone to inform King Yawu. As for Yi Tianxin and Heavenly Concubine, it was her who informed them. Because Yi Tianxin and Heavenly Concubine lived on a small island in the lake below the city in the sky. It was the place where Night Sorrow planted his herbs. Soon, the higher-ups of the 100 clans of the celestial realm gathered in Xingyue City. Elder Zhai Xing brought along a large group of fortune-tellers. They continuously divined Demon Nine Clouds. They wanted to know what Demon Nine Clouds was doing as soon as possible. The difference between her and Night Sorrow is huge. If she wants to defeat Night Sorrow and conquer the celestial realm, then the God-destroying tribulation is her only choice. I wonder how Night Sorrow is doing. King Yawu shook his head as he looked at the fortune-teller's divination. I don't know. I don't know where he went either. Lin Piaomiao shook her head. As the two of them were talking, a blurry image appeared in front of a fortune-teller. The blurry image was surrounded by golden light. Then, the image shook and disappeared. The fortune-teller also spat out a mouthful of blood. You are the fortune-teller for Night Sorrow? Elder Duan asked the fortune-teller. The fortune-teller's aura was a little weak. He nodded at Elder Duan. That's the human emperor. That's the merit emperor. A long time ago, other people's fortune-telling skills were ineffective against him. He could sense it too. It's impossible to peek into his situation. Don't act on your own in the future. Elder Duan reprimanded. The fortune-teller bowed. He was a newly recruited fortune-teller. He didn't know or understand these things. Elder Duan, why are you so angry? Tran Hung appeared in front of everyone. The city lord has come out of seclusion. Did it go well? Elder Duan and the others looked at Tran Hung. Although it was a huge risk, I survived. The seclusion for 100 years was worth it. Tran Hung nodded. He had sped up his cultivation in the spatial treasure. He had split his soul into two and strengthened it. Then, he had merged his soul into one. This process took 5,000 years. It was about the same time as Demon Nine Clouds' recovery. This is very good. The city lord should take a look. Demon Nine Clouds seems to be in seclusion. He should be trying to break through the God-destroying tribulation. Elder Duan pointed at Demon Nine Clouds in the image. Tran Hung looked at the image and nodded. Don't worry. With the Shura Empress and the Tree Supreme, it won't be easy for her to break through Star Moon City. Besides, she can't ignore my attacks. She shouldn't be able to focus on breaking through the city. After cultivating the heaven-defying art, Tran Hung, who was already very strong, became even stronger. At this moment, ripples appeared in the area where Demon Nine Clouds was. Then, the image was drowned out. D#. Chapter 2358. Divination was against the heavens. This was why the Qing Emperor didn't want Night Sorrow to practice divination. It would hurt his luck and make his future cultivation difficult. Those who practiced divination were all cultivators who had exhausted their potential. Divination could see the secrets of the heavens, but there was a limit. The God-destroying trial was the most powerful trial in the world. Divination couldn't withstand its pressure and power, so it couldn't be divined. Don't do it for now. We'll do it in 7 days, Yi Tianxin said. The Zhaixing clan elder nodded. He understood what Yi Tianxin meant. He wasn't the only one who understood. Everyone else understood as well. The results would be out in 7 days. At that time, whether or not Demon Nine Clouds had passed the god-destroying trial, they could do the divination. Where's Night Sorrow? Tran Hung looked around. Night Sorrow might have gone into seclusion to try for the god-destroying trial. I don't know the details, Lin Piaomiao said. Yawu, Elder Duan, what's wrong with you two? Why didn't you stop him? He hasn't had enough time to settle down. It's too risky to try for him now. Also, whether or not he can pass the god-destroying trial is very important to the races of the Celestial Realm and the Nine Zones world. Even if the Celestial Realm is attacked and destroyed, we have to swallow it. We have to settle down. Hearing that Night Sorrow had gone into seclusion to try for the god-destroying trial, Tran Hung was a bit angry. He was angry that King Yawu and Elder Duan didn't stop him. He was worried that Night Sorrow didn't have enough time to settle down. Every cultivator of the Emperor's trial had to settle down for countless years, let alone try for the god-destroying trial. King Yawu and Elder Duan didn't say anything. They didn't know either. But whether they knew or not, they had to listen to Tran Hung's scolding. The 4 heroes from the previous reincarnation were led by Tran Hung, King Yawu, Elder Duan, and the former peerless Sword Emperor Yan Wushuang all listened to him. Master Tran Hung, please don't be angry. Martial Uncle and Sect Elder Duan just found out, said Lin Piaomiao. Tran Hung nodded and did not continue the topic. It was already a foregone conclusion that Night Sorrow would go through the god-destroying tribulation. It was useless to pursue the matter now. Although they did not know if the Demon Nine Clouds would survive the god-destroying tribulation, the 100 races of the Celestial Realm were still making arrangements. Without Night Sorrow, the only place that the 100 races of the Celestial Realm could guard was Starmoon City. Furthermore, in terms of importance, Starmoon City surpassed Heavenly Desolate City and Divine Capital City. With the help of the World Tree in terms of defense, the conditions for defense were also unique. Everyone was very quiet. It was a torture because the developments in the next few days would determine the future direction of the Celestial Realm. If the Demon Nine Clouds failed to survive the god-destroying tribulation, then everything would be over. The Demon Wing clan would no longer have the capital to act recklessly. Without the Demon Imperial City as a backing, Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian would be trampled on by Yi Tianxin, Tran Hung, and King Yawu. It could even be said that if the Demon Nine Clouds failed to survive the tribulation, Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian might not even dare to appear. However, if the Demon Nine Clouds succeeded, then the 100 races of the Celestial Realm would be in great danger. The masters and higher-ups of the 100 races of the Celestial Realm gathered in Starmoon City. They were all waiting for the results in 7 days. They were waiting to know if the Demon Nine Clouds would succeed or fail. However, Lin Piaomiao was not. She was worried about Night Sorrow's situation. She felt that whether the Demon Nine Clouds could survive the tribulation was not the key. The key was whether the Night Sorrow could succeed. If the Night Sorrow succeeded, then even if the Demon Nine Clouds survived the god-destroying tribulation, it would be useless. He was defeated by the Night Sorrow now, and he would be defeated in the future. Piaomiao, this is the mistake of the older generation. We should not have let the Night Sorrow go through the god-destroying tribulation in such a hurry. We should have continued to consolidate. It is not important whether we can protect the rule of the Celestial Realm. It is not as important as the consolidation of the Night Sorrow. In the past, the Celestial Realm has fallen into enemy hands. It is fine as long as we can take it back. It is not worth risking the future for a small piece of land, Tran Hung said to Lin Piaomiao when they arrived at the Yi family's mansion in Starmoon City. Thank you, Master Tran Hung, for your concern for the Night Sorrow. Piaomiao understands what you said, and so does the Night Sorrow. However, understanding and doing are two different things. Night Sorrow cannot do it. Moreover, he has consolidated for 100 years. I believe in him, Lin Piaomiao said. Tran Hung nodded. He knew Night Sorrow's character very well. In the past, 7 days would pass in the blink of an eye. However, these 7 days passed very slowly. As soon as the 7 days passed, the fortune teller started the divination. However, the divination was not successful. The image appeared for a moment and then shattered. One more time, Tran Hung called for another fortune teller. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. After the fortune teller divined again, Tran Hung nodded. Everyone, do not worry. It is the energy of the God-destroying tribulation that is interfering with the divination. This means that Demon Nine Clouds has not passed the God-destroying tribulation. After hearing Tran Hung's words, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Everyone was very worried just now. If Demon Nine Clouds had fallen, the divination would have revealed it. If the divination did not reveal anything, it meant that there was a problem. After Tran Hung explained, everyone felt more at ease. The waiting and torment continued. In fact, Demon Nine Clouds had not passed the God-destroying tribulation yet. She had been adjusting her state of mind. Demon Nine Clouds had been accumulating her power. The God-destroying tribulation had appeared, but she had not triggered it. The tribulation had not descended yet. Demon Nine Clouds, who had passed the God-destroying tribulation once, knew how terrifying the God-destroying tribulation was. If she was not careful, she would lose everything. All her previous efforts and struggles would be for naught. If she succeeded, she would become an unprecedented divine emperor. She would be able to wield the heavenly Tao and control the cycle of reincarnation. Night Sorrow went to the wasteland and found a giant mountain peak. He sat down cross-legged at the top of the mountain. He knew that he could continue to stabilize and improve his strength, but he would not be able to improve much in a short period of time. Now was a dangerous time. If he allowed Demon Nine Clouds to pass the tribulation and attack first, he would die. This was the main reason why he had made this decision. After calming down, Night Sorrow began to circulate the energy in his body. He was very cautious. No matter if it was his body, true energy, or soul, they had all reached a peak. The God-destroying tribulation was coming. It was hard to say how strong it would be. The tribulation varied from person to person. After preparing for 3 days, Night Sorrow's body trembled. Golden light swirled around his body. 13 Sumera world lines shot out to protect his body. Then he released his energy and triggered the God-destroying tribulation. Tribulation clouds appeared and covered the sky where Night Sorrow was. The sun had disappeared, leaving behind only a ball of pitch-black tribulation clouds with golden edges that were shrouded in sunlight. Night Sorrow stood up and pulled out one of the 2 weapons on his back, the Samsara halberd. Originally, Night Sorrow had 3 bodies and 3 weapons. However, the weapons of the 9 domain avatars had not been upgraded recently, so they were not very compatible. Now, Night Sorrow was using the Samsara halberd and the blood Chelan evil-slaying spear. The tribulation clouds kept rolling. The pressure caused everything in the world to calm down. Chapter 23:59. As Night Sorrow murmured, the tribulation cloud in the sky began to change. It began to shrink. However, the smaller it was, the more Night Sorrow could feel the terrifying energy it contained. In a moment, the energy of the tribulation cloud shrank to a certain extent and turned into a human-shaped energy body. The energy body stretched out its left hand and a bolt of lightning connected its palm to the sky. The lightning crackled and crackled. In its right hand was a long halberd that shone with black light. God-destroying tribulation body. Night Sorrow knew that this was the God-destroying tribulation. If he defeated this energy body, he would become a divine emperor realm cultivator. What was a god? A divine emperor realm cultivator was a god. He could control the way of heaven, control reincarnation, and dominate everything. Very calm. Night Sorrow held the Samsara halberd. He was not excited, not afraid, but calm. At this moment, Night Sorrow's state of mind could only be described as calm. the tribulation body took shape. It waved the halberd and charged toward Night Sorrow. At the same time, it attacked with the lightning in its left hand. Fight! Night Sorrow charged forward while waving the Samsara halberd. The Samsara halberd faced the tribulation body's weapon head-on. Night Sorrow knew that there was no shortcut to surviving the God-destroying tribulation. The tribulation body was formed by the energy of the tribulation. It would never disperse until it was defeated and destroyed. With a boom, Night Sorrow and the tribulation body separated. The tribulation body retreated a little, but Night Sorrow was also forced to retreat. Moreover, the lightning energy rushed into the tribulation body through the Samsara halberd. Night Sorrow's arm was numb. Powerful. Night Sorrow felt the power of the reincarnation body. He had been so proud of himself and had not gained the upper hand in close combat. In addition, the energy that had entered his body was lightning with the reincarnation attribute. It was very destructive. Earlier, he had been using the primordial energy to protect himself. Now, he had switched to the reincarnation attribute to neutralize this energy. While Yi Shang was thinking, the reincarnation body attacked again, directly attacking Yi Shang. Its attack was incomparably ferocious. Yi Shang's previous attack had not caused much damage to it. Night Sorrow waved the Samsara halberd and fought with the reincarnation in the air. In a battle of attrition, Night Sorrow's Thousand Realms barrier blocked the lightning attacks from the tribulation bodies. Then, he clashed with the tribulation bodies again and again. After fighting for a while, another wave of attacks headed toward Night Sorrow. A green lightning bolt shot out from the head of the reincarnation. The lightning bolt ignored Night Sorrow's Thousand Realms defense and headed straight for his head. It was a soul attack. At the critical moment, Night Sorrow activated the 9-domain origin bead. A purple halo appeared above his head. Then, Night Sorrow used the soul extinguishing slash. The crescent blade of the soul extinguishing slash slashed at the lightning. Lightning attacks, close-range attacks, and soul attacks. The reincarnation body had no shortcomings. It attacked Night Sorrow violently. All of them were unique skills with extremely high damage. Damn it! Night Sorrow finally understood why the divine annihilation tribulation was so deadly. The strength of the tribulation body was too strong. Night Sorrow was very confident. He believed that he was the overlord below the divine emperor realm. Demon Nine Clouds was very strong. He had no problem killing ordinary divine soul unison realm experts. Even divine soul unison realm experts like Yi Tianxin and King Yo-Wu couldn't stop him. After a long time, they would be crushed and killed. But what about him? He had already reached a stage where he could suppress and kill Mo Jiuyun. However, he could only barely block the attack of the reincarnation of the God-destroying tribulation. If other divine soul unity realm cultivators were to come, they would be killed instantly. This tribulation was simply fatal. Edited by Lifer, Fingerfox. At this time, Night Sorrow had used all his skills. He used the power of merit, the human Tao ceremony to protect his body, the human emperor's seal to suppress the reincarnation body, the strength of his Tao domain to the highest level, the Thousand Realms defense to the maximum, and the soul extinguishing slash. No one knew or saw this battle. The intensity of the battle had far exceeded the battle between Night Sorrow and Demon Nine Clouds. The battle continued. In order to minimize the consumption, Night Sorrow quickly activated the leakless true body and used every bit of his energy on the blade. After fighting for an hour, Night Sorrow found a crucial problem. It was also a hope. The reincarnation body was being consumed. Although it was small, he found that the energy contained in the reincarnation body was decreasing. This was an opportunity. Night Sorrow, who had discovered this, no longer pursued high damage. He used the primordial destruction slash to melt and consume the energy of the reincarnation body. In order to minimize the damage, Night Sorrow and the reincarnation body fought around the peak that reached the sky. In fact, there was no peak. The peak had been flattened by the energy emitted by Night Sorrow and the reincarnation body. They were only in this area. %** update H at most, at most, Night Sorrow was at a disadvantage. However, he did not care. As long as he could consume the reincarnation body's energy, he could ensure that he would not be injured. After half a day, Night Sorrow's true energy had been depleted by 35%. However, the reincarnation body of the God-destroying tribulation still had 80%. Come on. Night Sorrow took out a dozen Emperor Spirit stones and shattered them. Then, he created a protective chi shield inside the Thousand Realms defense body. The protective chi shield wrapped around the energy and did not dissipate. Then, he began to absorb the energy. The energy he used during the battle was converted from his true energy to his physical strength. The conversion of energy made Night Sorrow's situation even worse. He was being suppressed by the reincarnation bodies, and even Night Sorrow was being pushed into the ground, where he was continuously suppressed. Night Sorrow knew that he could not continue fighting. If he continued to fight, the ground of the 9 regions world would be penetrated. He would be pushed into the chaotic streams of space. At that time, his situation would be worse than it was now. After all, in the 9 regions world, he still had the support of the world origin. If he left the 9 regions world, his fighting strength would decrease. After using the space-time realm and dodging the reincarnation body's halberd attack, Night Sorrow changed his position and flew towards the ground. Night Sorrow's tactic was to stabilize himself and recover his true energy. The battle was still going on. Night Sorrow's physical strength and true energy were constantly switching. He wanted to balance the consumption and replenishment. This was a good idea, but in reality, it was not working. His consumption was small, but it was still continuing. Calm down. Night Sorrow knew that he had to calm down. Descend. Suppress. Night Sorrow yelled and used the Merit Emperor's verbal law. Heavenly Tao energy appeared and descended. However, it did not suppress. This was because the reincarnation body of the God-destroying tribulation had surpassed Night Sorrow's intermediate Emperor Merit Emperor rank cultivation. This caused Night Sorrow's verbal law to fail. This method would not work. Night Sorrow could only endure and compete with the energy of the reincarnation body. Night Sorrow felt that unless the Demon 9 Clouds' God-destroying tribulation was much weaker than his own tribulation, the Demon 9 Clouds would not be able to endure. 4 days passed. Night Sorrow's energy and true energy were left with 10%. However, the reincarnation body still had 20%. This meant that even if Night Sorrow's energy was used up, the reincarnation body could still fight and slash. Chapter 2360. Night Sorrow did some calculations. If he didn't go all out, he would only have 10% less energy than the tribulation energy body. He wouldn't be able to fight anymore, and the tribulation energy body would still have 10% of energy left. It could still kill him. Absorbing energy from spiritual stones and other types of energy while fighting was too slow. Night Sorrow's protective shield was also filled with spiritual energy from spiritual stones, but the absorption speed couldn't keep up. He could only try to replenish his energy with the same origin as his flesh and blood to see if he could make it in time. Using the Wuji body tempering art was his only choice. The battle was still going on. Night Sorrow persisted, withstood, and continued to expend energy. After absorbing the energy from his left arm, Night Sorrow's remaining true chi was completely used up. His body's energy had recovered to less than 15%. The tribulation energy body also had 15% energy, which was equivalent to Night Sorrow's true chi. He had used up 5% of the tribulation energy body's energy. Continue. Night Sorrow gritted his teeth and broke his left leg. He continued to absorb energy and fight. Night Sorrow's protective shield was filled with golden red energy. It was the energy of his flesh and blood. Brothers and sisters of various platforms, the end of this book is in the first chapter of the new book, Redbud Token. If you haven't seen it yet, please search for Cool Craftsman, Redbud Token. Group number 195782661. It was extremely tragic. When Night Sorrow's legs and left hand were consumed by the Wuji body tempering art, the tribulation energy body was also officially exhausted. Night Sorrow used the Samsara halberd to disperse it. When the tribulation energy body dispersed, Night Sorrow's body shone with golden light. The surrounding void also shone brightly. Auspicious clouds appeared in the sky, and then they all gathered towards Night Sorrow's body. After surviving the God-destroying tribulation, Night Sorrow understood that he was no longer a cultivator of the tribulation of 9 emperors. He was no longer a divine soul unity realm cultivator. He had a different feeling. He could control everything and destroy everything. He was already a divine emperor. Golden light entered his body, and the energy of heaven and earth entered his body. Night Sorrow felt that he was everything in the world. Floating in the void, Night Sorrow began to regenerate his broken limbs. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. Night Sorrow's body contained a great amount of energy. It wasn't easy to regenerate his broken limbs. It would take time. Demon 9 Clouds also began her tribulation. Everyone was shocked. Something must have happened to the diviner. Something must have happened to the diviner. She succeeded. Divine emperors are gods. Gods can't be blasphemed. Divining divine emperors and peeping on divine emperors will have to pay the price. Yi Tianxin murmured. She had come to a conclusion. Let's defend. Tran Hung sighed. They didn't want to see this result. But since it had happened, they could only accept it. Lin Piaomiao, Datura, and the others were even more depressed. Night Sorrow had to take care of everything. Is there any news about Night Sorrow? Yi Tianxin asked Lin Piaomiao. Lin Piaomiao shook her head. No one had any news about Night Sorrow. They could only wait. After Mo Jiuyan passed the God-destroying tribulation, no one could stop him anymore. In the past, only Yi Shang could suppress Mo Jiuyan before he passed the God-destroying tribulation. Now, no one could touch him. Time slowly slipped away. Yi Shang's legs slowly recovered and became solid bit by bit. Soon. Night Sorrow's face was filled with joy. He could go home after his arms recovered. He didn't want to go home with a crippled body. He didn't want his family to worry about him. As for the recovery, Night Sorrow felt that it would be fast. He was the world lord of the 9-domain world. His speed of absorbing energy was very fast. Demon 9 Clouds' injuries were much lighter than Night Sorrow's. He only needed to recuperate for a while. He didn't need to stabilize his realm. When Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian saw Demon 9 Clouds, they immediately prostrated themselves on the ground. The halo around Demon 9 Clouds' body gave them a lot of pressure. Get up. Our demon-winged race has been attacking the celestial realm for 1,000 reincarnations. A whole 1,000 reincarnations. This reincarnation will end. Celestial realm and supreme world belong to our demon-winged race. Demon 9 Clouds said. Congratulations, Lord. You've become an unprecedented divine emperor. Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian bowed to Demon 9 Clouds again. Let's go. We'll take down Tianhuang City and open up the passage. We'll set up the teleportation array in Demon Imperial City. Then, we'll take care of Xingyue City. This time, we'll kill them all in one fell swoop. We'll send our army to crush the celestial realm's elites. Demon 9 Clouds said to Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian. Then, the three of them left the celestial realm and flew towards Tianhuang City. This time, the three of them were swaggering. They were discovered by the people of the God-Devil Castle and reported to Xingyue City. Sect Elder Lin, give the order. Leave some low-level cultivators clones in Tianhuang City and Chengdu City. Leave all your original bodies. Tran Hung said to Lin Piaomiao. Lin Piaomiao nodded. She understood that if they couldn't stop Demon 9 Clouds, the celestial realm's 100 tribes would have to go from being proactive to passive. They would have to enter a defensive phase to preserve their strength. Demon 9 Clouds and the other two arrived at Tianhuang City. This city has withstood countless of our attacks. It'll be our fortress in the future. There's no need to destroy it. Our demon-winged race needs it too. If it's badly damaged, we'll have to rebuild it. It'll delay our development. Demon Nine Clouds said to Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian as they flew over Tianhuang City. It was easy to set up the teleportation array. Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian then mobilized the troops of the 100 Kings tribe of the demon-winged race. The demon-winged race had lost many experts in the celestial realm. However, that was only a portion of the demon-winged race. In 2 days, the demon-winged race's troops were all assembled. Standing in the air, Demon Nine Clouds waved his arm and gave the order to set off. The demon-winged race's army didn't launch a large-scale attack. Instead, they went straight to Xingyue City. Demon Nine Clouds wanted to start a decisive battle. He wanted to deal with the upper echelons of the 100 tribes of the celestial realm. They're here. We'll have to trouble Lord Tian Xian to control the array. We'll cooperate with the defense. Tran Heng said to Yi Tianxin. Yi Tianxin nodded. He then clasped his hands together and cupped them towards the void of Xingyue City. Lord Supreme Tree, we need your help. Green branches appeared. One of them rested on Yi Tianxin's shoulder. Then, the tree's spirit appeared. Night Sorrow isn't here? No, he's probably in closed-door cultivation. Yi Tianxin said. Then let's defend. I don't know how powerful a divine emperor is. Let's try it together. Tree Spirit said. Night Sorrow, you won't have the chance to delay this time. There's no need to run from each other. Demon Nine Clouds shouted towards Xingyue City. Chapter 2361. There's no point in talking so much. If you don't show up, then what do you mean by hiding? Demon Nine Clouds looked at Lin Piaomiao and said. You've changed. You do things unscrupulously and even speak against your heart. Our friendship is a thing of the past, Jun Xuanji, who was standing behind Lin Piaomiao, said. Yes, it's a thing of the past. Zhu Nine Clouds is just a part of my eternal life, a small memory, Demon Nine Clouds said. No one spoke anymore. It was a meaningless battle of words. Demon Nine Clouds was already unscrupulous. No matter what they said, it was useless. Demon Nine Clouds waved his halberd and a halberd light flew towards the defensive array of Star Moon City. Yi Tianxin stretched out his right arm and sent out the Azura sword chi that was strengthened by the array. However, the effect this time was completely different from the previous time. Boom! After Demon Nine Clouds' halberd broke Yi Tianxin's sword chi, the halberd light landed on the defensive array of the city, causing the entire city to tremble. Cracks even appeared on the ground of Star Moon City. The attack of a divine emperor was incomparably powerful. Just one attack was enough to shake Star Moon City. A part of the energy flowed through the ground and hit the teleportation array. Night Sorrow, who was originally sitting cross-legged, opened his eyes. He shook his newly recovered left arm and raised his head to look at the void. Is the war coming? Night Sorrow had recognized the teleportation crystal of Star Moon City as its master. Therefore, he could feel it when it received an intense energy impact. Looking at his left hand that was only missing a nail, Night Sorrow smiled. Fortunately, I've completed the condensation. I don't need to be crippled. Night Sorrow's body turned faint. Then, he appeared 1,000,000 miles away. After a few flashes, he returned to the city in the sky. Without saying anything, Night Sorrow entered the teleportation array and started the teleportation. Your father is back. Let's go. When Lin Piaomiao's true body detected Night Sorrow's figure, she called out to her family. If Night Sorrow appeared at this moment, it meant that he had successfully passed the tribulation. She was extremely happy. Mo Jillian began his frenzied assault on the defensive array of Star Moon City. Even with the support of the World Tree, the defensive array was still in a precarious situation. The energy of the World Tree was massive, but the quality of the energy was different. Once again, Mo Jillian was attacking a single point. One more time. Break for me. Mo Tianji's body danced as she waved her halberd again. With this strike, Demon Nine Clouds' great desolate war halberd broke through the defensive grand array, blasting a hole in it. She flew in and slashed her great desolate war halberd towards Yi Tianxin's head. She wanted to kill Yi Tianxin, who was controlling the array formation. Unable to move, Yi Tianxin was suppressed by Demon Nine Clouds' divine domain. She couldn't move even if she wanted to. She could only watch as the great desolate war halberd flew towards her head. Yi Tianxin closed her eyes. She had no regrets. She had no choice but to die at the hands of the God King. She had also done her best for the 100 races of the celestial realm. However, there was no sound of the halberd entering her body. Yi Tianxin felt that something was wrong and opened her eyes. In front of Yi Tianxin's eyes was a white hand. It was just that there were no fingernails. The hand was holding the halberd steadily. Night Sorrow had appeared. The moment he appeared, Yi Tianxin was in danger. This moment was fixed. Demon Nine Clouds' body was in the air. The great desolate war halberd flew out, but the tip was in Night Sorrow's left hand. Break. Demon Nine Clouds' right arm trembled as he continued to stab. But in fact, it was as if Demon Nine Clouds hadn't used any strength. The great desolate war halberd was still firmly in Night Sorrow's hand. At this moment, the Samsara halberd in Night Sorrow's right arm moved. It was swung towards Demon Nine Clouds. Demon Nine Clouds' body pressed down to avoid Night Sorrow's attack. At the same time, he pulled out the great desolate war halberd. With a crisp sound, the great desolate war halberd broke. The tip was in Night Sorrow's left hand. Demon Nine Clouds lifted the great desolate war halberd that was missing its tip. He broke through the defensive array and retreated into the air. Be careful. She's a God King. Yi Tianxin said as he looked at Night Sorrow, who didn't chase after him. God King. I'm also a God King. Her God King title seems a bit fake. Night Sorrow said as he raised his left hand. The tip of the great desolate war halberd in his hand shattered and then turned into nothingness. Night Sorrow, you also succeeded? Demon Nine Clouds' eyes were filled with shock. She felt that she would be invincible after entering the God King realm. But Night Sorrow appeared. He was much stronger than her. They were both God Kings, but their levels were different. If you can succeed, why can't I? Aren't you being too shady now? Night Sorrow looked at Demon Nine Clouds and shook his head. He had already given up on saving Demon Nine Clouds. Because the former Demon Nine Clouds had disappeared after the fusion. That bit of emotion had been assimilated by Demon Nine Clouds. She's a shameless villain now. She said you were running away. Jun Xuanji shouted angrily. Running away. I, Night Sorrow, am an indomitable spirit. When have I ever run away from a problem? Demon Nine Clouds, why do you have to pour dirty water on others? Night Sorrow smiled. Then let's fight. Demon Nine Clouds knew that the situation was not good. It was not that she did not work hard, but Night Sorrow had risen too quickly. She did not give Night Sorrow any time. You lost. I'll give you a chance to reincarnate. You can reincarnate yourself. Night Sorrow looked at Demon Nine Clouds and said. Reincarnate. I'm a God King. I've surpassed life and death. I'm eternal. Why should I reincarnate? Demon Nine Clouds was angry. Night Sorrow said that she had lost without fighting. This meant that Night Sorrow was confident and did not treat her as an opponent on the same level. If your heart is righteous, I'll give you eternal life. But your bones are filled with aggression, so you must reincarnate. I'll purify you. Maybe in the future, you'll be Zhu Nine Clouds. Demon Nine Clouds will definitely fall. Night Sorrow shook his head. Kill. Demon Nine Clouds was angry. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, she felt that she was very inferior. She was also a God King. Why should Night Sorrow decide her fate? She refused to accept it. At this time, Night Sorrow stretched out his left hand. A golden energy hand appeared in the air and slapped Demon Nine Clouds. Demon Nine Clouds was slapped to the ground. Then, Night Sorrow's body grew. He stretched out his left hand and grabbed the heavily injured Zhu Nine Clouds. You're a God King. But I, Night Sorrow, am the virtuous God King. I'm an immortal God King. It's not the same. This is fate. After saying that, Night Sorrow clenched his left hand. Demon Nine Clouds' body turned into ashes. Only her soul was left. However, she was still in Night Sorrow's control. You're ruthless. I won't let you go. Demon Nine Clouds' soul was still struggling. You don't have a chance. I've said it before. Demon Nine Clouds must fall. I hope that one day, I'll see Zhu Nine Clouds, not you. Yi Shang placed the reincarnation halberd on his back and then touched Mo Tianji's soul in his left hand. He opened the void and shattered Mo Jiuyun's soul into pieces before releasing them into the void. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. It's time to end this. With a wave of his left hand, Yi Shang tore through the void. With a wave of his sleeve, the Devil Wing race army that was still frozen in the air and unable to leave was turned to dust. Their soul fragments were sent into the chaotic streams of the void by Yi Shang. Is this what it means to wield the heavenly Tao and control reincarnation? If you have any questions, you can find me in the Nine Regions world. Night Sorrow muttered to himself as he shook his head. After giving some instructions, he left. He didn't want to care about the rest of the matters. He didn't need to care about them. In March, the peach blossoms bloomed. There were banquets everywhere in the city in the sky. It was Night Sorrow's God King celebration. The Yi family was greeting the guests. Night Sorrow was chatting with his parents, Old Man Gu, Tran Hung, King Ye Wu, Yi Tianxin, Heavenly Concubine, Wu Lingfei, and other elders. Aunt Fei, you can stay in the city in the sky from now on. Night Sorrow invited her. Sure. With the guidance of a God King like you, I can make progress quickly. Wu Lingfei nodded with a smile. Night Sorrow, Sect Elder Duan will come later. He has some matters to deal with. He asked Martial Uncle to send his congratulations first. By the way, what does it mean to wield the heavenly Tao and control reincarnation? King Yewu asked. I don't know the specifics. I can decide some things and change some rules. Take Martial Uncle for example. If Martial Uncle reaches the end of his lifespan, I can change that. Maybe that's what it means to wield reincarnation. Night Sorrow said. Is it good to go against the heavens? Tran Hung asked. It's not very good, but everyone I know has karma with me. It's not a big problem, so don't worry. Night Sorrow said. Father, stop chatting. The uncles of the god-slaying team are all clamoring to have a drink with you. It's all over now. Yi Qinyan entered the main hall of the mansion. Cool, Smith, Z Network's original unspecified currency S first release, haha. Tran Hung, Martial Uncle, you can't leave. I'll go see my brothers first. Night Sorrow stood up and said with a smile. The story ended here. After typing these words, she felt very sad. It was as if his child had grown up and left his side. He was very reluctant to part. Thank you for your company for more than a year. Companionship is everlasting. With everyone's support, I've achieved good results. She thanks everyone. Where there's a beginning, there's an end. Separation is for the next reunion. I'll wait for everyone in my new book, The Redbud Token. The Redbud Token is my personal style. It's also the style I'm good at. I believe that I can write a good book that everyone will like. She has a hardworking attitude. Chapter 2362. Welcome, Lord God King. When Night Sorrow appeared, the members of the god-slaying team stood up and greeted him respectfully. Night Sorrow's eyes contained the sun, moon, and stars. He could control everything. Night Sorrow couldn't help but frown, thinking that there was a gap between them. Long Jean, Lei Bao, and the others laughed loudly. Even the most reserved Qin Jin couldn't help but purse his lips. So they were joking. Night Sorrow couldn't help but feel helpless. However, he was in a good mood. Today, brothers, let's get drunk. The hidden danger of the devil-winged race was resolved, and the world was at peace. Time passed quickly, and 300 years passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Night Sorrow found Tran Hung, King Yewu, and Wu Lingfei. He told them that he couldn't suppress his cultivation and was about to ascend to the God King realm. The heavenly Tao was interfering, and he had to ascend to the God King realm. After arranging everything, Night Sorrow brought his family from Bamboo Garden Village to Tianhuang City. They walked the path of the past, reminiscing about the joys and frustrations, and stabilized their mood and cultivation. The day of ascension. Dark clouds hung low in the sky, and the entire 9 regions world was quiet. Night Sorrow only informed Tran Hung, King Yewu, and a few others because the 9 regions world needed Tran Hung and King Yewu to oversee it. Only Yi Nianxiao appeared from the Night Moon dynasty. She stood side by side with Tianyu. The others were kept in the clear sky pagoda by Night Sorrow, ready to ascend together. Apart from the Night Moon dynasty's people, Night Sorrow only brought Wu Lingfei. She wanted to find the Phoenix ancestral grounds in the God King realm. If she could find it, it would be a great opportunity. Thank you for sending me off. Everyone, take care. Flowers will bloom again, and people will meet again. Night Sorrow, who was wearing a brand new navy blue robe, stepped forward and caressed Yi Nianxiao's hair. He bid farewell to everyone and left behind the Emperor's seal and the Emperor's brush. This was to bring peace to the world. Suddenly, the power of merit rushed into his body. At this moment, Night Sorrow no longer restrained his sharpness. He released his primordial energy and reincarnation energy, forming a protective mist around his body. He soared into the sky. Not long after flying out of the Chaos World Group, the violent heavenly thunder earthly fire appeared. It was the first time a creature of the celestial realm had ascended to the celestial realm since the creation of the world, not to mention that he had brought his family. Night Sorrow did not dare to be careless. He defended himself with his protective energy. If the situation went wrong, he would immediately throw his people and Wu Lingfei out. Boom! 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 Streaks of violent thunderbolts bombarded Night Sorrow's body continuously. These thunderbolts were several times more terrifying than the God-destroying tribulation. However, Night Sorrow was no longer in the divine soul unity realm. He was a true God Emperor. Naturally, he was not the same as before. He relied on his cultivation and valiant body to withstand the thunderbolts and continue to fly upwards. Not good. The earthly fire is attacking the clear sky pagoda. The clear sky pagoda is showing signs of being incinerated. Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, and the others in the clear sky pagoda shouted at the same time. The earthly fire was everywhere. It burned not only Night Sorrow's body, but also the clear sky pagoda in his dantian. It wanted to burn everyone into ashes. Break for me. Family was his reverse scale. He could not allow anyone to violate it. The heavenly thunder earthly fire was even more so. Night Sorrow shouted. He used the energy in his body to expel the burning earthly fire and protect the clear sky pagoda. His body resisted the heavenly thunder earthly fire. Soon, visible cracks appeared on his crystal-like body. The heavenly thunder earthly fire was very special. It was impossible to avoid it. His Thousand Realms defense was also useless. He could only resist it. If he did not cultivate the myriad Dao Tome, Night Sorrow's body would have disintegrated. This won't do. No matter how difficult it is, I have to increase my flying speed. The heavenly thunder earthly fire became more and more violent. The pressure on Night Sorrow also increased. Soon, half of the energy in his body was consumed. He also felt a heavy pressure in his heart. If this continued, it would be like boiling a frog in warm water. It would be easy for him to die. He had to increase his flying speed. 2/3 of the energy in my body has been consumed. I'm still in the heavenly thunder earthly fire. Not long after, Night Sorrow's energy was almost exhausted. However, the heavenly thunder earthly fire did not dissipate. Helpless, he could only support the power of virtue and continue to resist the heavenly thunder earthly fire. This was one of his most important trump cards. In the Clear Sky Pagoda, Night Moon's clansmen and Wu Lingfei were anxious. However, they were not strong enough to help. They could only pray silently. Space barrier. It's almost done. The power of virtue was very strong. However, it was only enough for Night Sorrow to hold on. Fortunately, the divine world was not far away. He was confident. What is this? Seeing that victory was in sight, Night Sorrow and the others noticed that the heavenly thunder earthly fire and the heavenly thunder earthly fire were gathering not far away. They slowly formed a huge lightning dragon. The lightning dragon's aura was extremely oppressive. It was as if it could destroy the world. Danger. Husband, be careful. Even Aoi, who was the most stable, could not help but shout out a warning. Father, be careful. Yi Qinyan and Yi Xiaolei were so anxious that they were about to cry. It's okay. As long as I'm still alive, I will protect everyone. Although the situation was critical, Night Sorrow did not retreat. While controlling the power of virtue, he broke his left arm and used the everlasting body tempering art to absorb the energy of the same origin as his flesh. He continued to advance. Night Sorrow faced the danger. The lightning dragon did not attack. Instead, it spat out heavenly thunder fire, which contained the power of destruction. It burned Night Sorrow's body. In an instant, the heavenly thunder fire around Night Sorrow's body was burned away. Cracks also appeared on the Clear Sky Pagoda. If this continued, everyone in the pagoda would be burned to death. If I can't defend against this heavenly thunder fire, everyone will be annihilated. Night Sorrow's energy was not enough to defend against the heavenly thunder fire. He broke his right arm and legs and continuously used the everlasting body tempering art to increase his divine domain to the peak. Husband. Datura murmured worriedly. Son. Yi Wuyo and Yu Qing held each other's hands tightly. The heavenly thunder fire burned Night Sorrow as if it was burning their hearts. The others in the Clear Sky Pagoda were also distressed. Many people's eyes had already turned red. They were clear that if Night Sorrow did not divert too much energy to protect the Clear Sky Pagoda, he should have succeeded in ascending long ago. I can't fall. Night Sorrow persisted until the end. He was like a lamp that had run out of oil, but he was still flying upwards. Finally, when the Clear Sky Pagoda was about to be destroyed, Night Sorrow broke through the seal and arrived at a brand new space. I didn't let everyone down. Night Sorrow was too miserable to look at, but he was happy. Other than him and the Clear Sky Pagoda, no one was injured. This was already the best result. The spatial passage slowly closed. Without a trace of energy in his body, Night Sorrow, who had fainted, uncontrollably fell from the sky to the ground. Divine Realm. The sky was higher, the earth was more solid, the spiritual energy was vast, the space was extremely stable, and the heavenly Tao's laws were more complete. Presumably, cultivating in such an environment would be easier. But how could the people who came out of the Clear Sky Pagoda be in the mood to study cultivation matters? They all gathered around Night Sorrow. Lin Piaomiao fished out a medicinal pill and sent it into Night Sorrow's mouth. The medicinal pill was refined before Night Sorrow became a deity. Its grade was limited, but it was better than nothing. Haha. Lord Military Advisor indeed did not calculate wrongly. There is indeed a creator who succeeded in ascending. This is a tremendous lucky chance. Right at this time, 2 cultivators, one male and one female, flew down from above the layers of clouds. Their divine power was vast and mighty, as dazzling as the sun. Their pressure made people's hearts palpitate. Clearly, they had already become deities. The male cultivator among them was wearing a white brocade robe with a crown on his head. His appearance had a rather scholarly temperament, but there was a heavy vicious aura between his brows. His gaze that examined everyone was extremely unruly. Floating in the air with his hands behind his back, he said coldly, "A bunch of ants, still not kneeling on the ground after seeing this seat?" Chapter 2363. May I know who you are? Although our cultivation levels are low, we are not slaves who will kneel before anyone. Knight Sorrow's grandfather, Yi Linghuan, retorted. The Yi family members were prideful cultivators. They would kneel to the heavens, to the earth, to their masters, and to their parents. But they would never do such a thing. Otherwise, their Tao hearts would be unstable and they would not submit. Little ant, you have not even reached the immortal state and you dare to speak so arrogantly. You really don't know what's good for you. Do you know that I am Ling Yun, a subordinate of the Purple Mansion Divine Lord? This is my Tao partner, Azure Glass Divine Lord. I can crush your supreme existence with a stomp of my feet. The white-robed cultivator, Ling Yun, scolded with a sinister expression. Then, he raised his hand and shot out a beam of light. With a groan, Yi Linghuan's dantian was destroyed. To a cultivator, having one's dantian destroyed meant losing all their cultivation. It was even more painful than having one's soul destroyed. Ling Yun, who could kill him with one blow, was a vicious person. You beast, you hurt my grandfather for no reason. You will die a horrible death. Knight Sorrow's condition was not good. Lin Piaomiao was already the strongest in the family. Seeing her grandfather being humiliated, she attacked without hesitation. I'll kill you. Yi Xiaoluo attacked at the same time. Although it was like a mayfly trying to shake a tree, it could not stop their determination to take revenge. This was the Yi family's unyielding character. Ha ha ha. You overestimate yourself. A firefly trying to compete with the moon. Ling Yun smirked and pointed 2 fingers. Lin Piaomiao and Yi Xiaoluo's dantians were destroyed as well. In reality, with Ling Yun's cultivation level, he did not need to attack to intimidate everyone. But he was playing with them like a cat playing with a mouse. Stop. Don't be rash. Knight Sorrow, who had just woken up, saw the tragedy happen and instantly understood what happened. Anger filled his heart and his Tao heart trembled. But he gritted his teeth and stopped his family members who were about to continue attacking. Knight Sorrow could not see through the strength of the male and female cultivators. This proved that the difference between them was too obvious. They were completely powerless. The helplessness of having his life and death controlled by someone else made Knight Sorrow feel resentful. Suppressing his anger, he coldly said, I wonder what the 2 of you are here for? Ever since he started cultivating, Knight Sorrow had experienced setbacks and oppression, but he had never been so humiliated like today. He swore in his heart that if he didn't die today, he would quickly become stronger and kill this so-called high god Ling Yun so that his family would never be bullied again. Hee hee. There was one tactful person. Are you the cultivator who created the world and successfully ascended to the god realm? Since you're already crippled, I'll pardon you for not kneeling. The corners of Ling Yun's mouth carried an evil smile as he looked at Yi Shang with a mocking gaze. He thought to himself, you're just a lower realm dragon and phoenix. In front of me, you're still trash like an ant. Today, I will take away all the opportunities that belong to you. I don't know what creating the world is, but I did just ascend. The pale-faced Knight Sorrow replied, but his heart was filled with hatred and indignation. As a realm master and human emperor, how could he swallow such humiliation? If not for his family, Knight Sorrow would have chosen to die together with them. That's right, it's you. You created the world and ascended, so the origin of the god realm will reward you. When the origin of the God realm descends, you have to give me the opportunity. Otherwise, everyone here will die, Ling Yun threatened coldly. As one of the top 10 subordinates of the Purple Mansion Divine Lord, if he could absorb the reward from the origin of the God realm, he might become a Divine Lord. In the God realm was divided into Feather God, High God, Divine Lord, and Divine King. Each God realm was further divided into Lower, Middle, and High. Night Sorrow, who had just ascended, was a Lower Feather God. Ling Yun was a High God. There was a difference of 5 levels between them. I agree, but you have to swear to ensure the safety of my family. Otherwise, I'd rather die together with them, Night Sorrow said coldly. His family was his bottom line. Swear? Sure. They're just a bunch of ants. Their lives have nothing to do with me. I, Ling Yun, swear. Ling Yun casually swore. When the auspicious sign descends, resist it with all your strength. Don't absorb any of it. It's coming. Suddenly, Ling Yun's eyes lit up. At this moment, gentle golden energy floated over from the horizon and surrounded Yishang. If I absorb it all, not only will I recover from my injuries, but my cultivation will also increase. The golden energy was extremely pure, and being surrounded by it made one feel comfortable. This originally belonged to Yishan, but now he could only harden his heart and resist it, not absorbing a single bit. Haha. You know your place. The pure energy radiance was resisted by Night Sorrow and floated away bit by bit. Ling Yun's face was full of enjoyment as he absorbed it. Lapis Lazuli was envious, but she didn't dare to do anything. She was obviously afraid of Ling Yun. The origin of the godly world is indeed extraordinary. After absorbing it completely, Ling Yun looked up to the sky and roared. Then, his expression changed. He looked at Night Sorrow and said, "You must have extraordinary talent to be able to ascend from the lower realm. I can spare your life, but I can't give you a chance to take revenge." As he spoke, Ling Yun raised his hand and pointed viciously. He wanted to destroy Night Sorrow's energy center and turn him into a cripple. B****. Even though Night Sorrow had been through countless storms, he felt like his heart was being stabbed by a knife. There was a huge difference in their cultivation levels. Ling Yun could indeed cripple him with a wave of his hand. Night Sorrow, who had no ability to resist, could only use his remaining energy to protect his energy center. Night Sorrow. At this moment, Wu Lingfei, who was standing beside Night Sorrow, suddenly let out a phoenix cry and turned into a golden phoenix. She used the essence of her energy, which was her wings, to protect Night Sorrow. Even though Wu Lingfei was a big shot in the celestial realm, she couldn't withstand a blow from a godly god. Her wings were instantly smashed into a bloody mess, and her origin was directly damaged. Andi Fei, why are you so silly? No matter how big the matter is, I, Night Sorrow, will take it on. Night Sorrow roared like an injured beast as he looked at Wu Lingfei, who was dying and covered in blood. Wu Lingfei had stood up for Night Sorrow many times since he started cultivating. Now that he was a god, Night Sorrow felt like his heart was being torn apart. Haha. If you want to take it on, I'll fulfill your wish. Ling Yun smiled. He enjoyed the feeling of controlling life and death. However, just as Ling Yun was about to make a move, Lu Li, who was floating in the air and wearing a red robe, said, "Husband. Look at that golden phoenix. What's there to see about an ant?" Ling Yun said unhappily. "Sir Divine Lord's birthday is in 800 years. Isn't husband lacking a gift that can satisfy Sir Divine Lord? I see that this golden phoenix has a pure bloodline. There aren't many phoenixes with such a bloodline in the entire godly world. Moreover, she is a virgin. She can be given to Sir Divine Lord." Lu Li's eyes flashed. Wu Lingfei's sudden outburst had been seen through by Lu Li. Yes. 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 Sir Divine Lord's original body is a sky-devouring sparrow. It's best to give this golden phoenix to Sir Divine Lord. Lu Li, you didn't let me down. Chapter 2364. Each of the top 100 experts on the Divine Lord ranking was famous in the Divine Realm. They had the chance to become the Divine King. Ordinary Divine Lords couldn't compare to them. Ling Yun was both respectful and afraid of the Purple Mansion Divine Lord. Naturally, he wanted to curry favor with him. This bitch's injuries are too severe. I'm afraid it won't be easy to save her. But if I can make the Divine Lord happy, it'll be worth it even if I have to use some pills. Wu Lingfei couldn't withstand a high god's attack. She lay on the ground in a bloody mess, her body corroded by divine power. If she wasn't treated, she would soon die. Ling Yun didn't delay. He used his divine power to put Wu Lingfei into his spatial artifact and fled with azurite. He didn't even attack Night Sorrow. Clearly, he didn't want to waste that moment. Auntie Fei. Yi Shang swears that he will definitely become stronger and save you in one piece. Ling Yun, you treat me like an ant today. I, Night Sorrow, will repay you 100-fold. Though they'd escaped disaster, Night Sorrow felt like a knife had cut his heart. If anything had happened to Wu Lingfei, his Dao heart would have been shattered. Fortunately, the Purple Mansion Divine Lord's birthday was in 800 years. This meant that Wu Lingfei would be safe in the short term. However, advancing to the Divine Realm was much more difficult than advancing to the Emperor Realm or the Imperial Tribulation Realm. Thus, 800 years was a short time. Grandfather, Sister Xian, Xiaoluo. I'll heal you as soon as possible. As for that Ling Yun, I'll kill him. No one can humiliate the Yi family. No matter if he's a high god or a divine lord, he'll have to pay the price. Wu Lingfei's situation was worrying for the future. Yi Linghuan, Lin Piaomiao, and Yi Xiaoluo's injuries were worrying for the immediate future. Night Sorrow couldn't help but comfort them when he scanned them with his divine sense. Yi Linghuan, Lin Piaomiao, and Yi Xiaoluo's condition wasn't as simple as their dantians being destroyed. More importantly, Ling Yun's divine power remained in their dantians, corroding them like poison. If he wanted to expel the divine power and repair the dantian of several people, he would need very high-grade divine elixirs or natural treasures. If he delayed for too long, his life would be in danger. Sister Xian believes in you. Don't give yourself too much pressure, and don't take unnecessary risks. The God world is not simple. After being sent into the Clear Sky Pagoda, Lin Piaomiao, whose face was as pale as a sheet of paper, began to earnestly instruct Yi Qingyu. There were too many experts in the divine world, and danger was everywhere. She was worried that Night Sorrow wouldn't be able to change his mindset. She had previously used the name Lin Xian but Night Sorrow still called her Sister Xian Big Sister Xian don't worry. I understand the principle of survival of the fittest. I won't be arrogant. After chatting with Lin Piaomiao for a while, Lu Yu, who was accompanying Yi Xiaoluo, was comforted by Night Sorrow before he began to heal himself. Even with the Clear Sky Pagoda's acceleration, it took 2 years for Night Sorrow to fully recover from his injuries. After fully recovering, Night Sorrow found a secluded valley and set up a defensive array. He called everyone out from the Clear Sky Pagoda and said, "This is the first time we've come to the God world. Everyone knows nothing. Today, I'll set off to scout for information and find some opportunities. I've already set up a defensive array here. Although it's not a divine array, the surrounding demonic beasts can still block it. After I find the divine array diagrams and materials, I'll set up this place as our stronghold in the God world." He didn't have the slightest understanding of the God world. He didn't even know how the God realm was divided. He didn't have any God realm cultivation techniques or absolute arts, divine pill recipes, or array diagrams. He didn't know how to obtain the power of virtue, and he also didn't know how to upgrade the myriad Tao Tome and heavenly halberd of samsara. It wasn't easy to become stronger quickly. Night Sorrow understood that he couldn't afford any delays. "Husband, I'll go with you," Datura said. She was very worried that Night Sorrow would have an accident. In the end, Night Sorrow refused and left after a few words. Datura wasn't in the God realm and was like a celestial being. It would be easy for him to get into trouble if he showed himself in public. The energy in the god world was more condensed. The speed of flight was twice as slow as in the celestial realm. After 4 days, Night Sorrow found a city by the sea called North Sea City. This city was grand and imposing. The area it occupied was millions of times larger than Sky City. When he entered the city, 2 armored guards demanded 5 divine crystals. Night Sorrow knew that this was the rule. He took out a demonic core he obtained from killing a demonic beast on the way and said, "I don't have any divine crystals. Will this demonic core do?" The demonic wolf Night Sorrow killed was half a step into the god realm. Its demonic core was worth at least 30 divine crystals. The 2 guards naturally let him pass. This guy is so generous and doesn't know anything. He must be a hothead who just entered the world. Why don't we sell this information to the high god Styx? Isn't he looking everywhere for feather gods without any support? One of the guards said after Night Sorrow left. None of the helpers the high god Styx finds have a good ending. Wouldn't it be a crime to introduce them to him? The other guard said. Who cares? It's fine as long as someone pays us divine crystals. If we don't earn more divine crystals, we won't be able to become gods. The guard said indifferently. The 2 of them used a secret method unique to the god world to transmit their voices. Night Sorrow didn't notice. At this time, he was using his divine soul to investigate the situation in the city. It turned out that the god world was similar to the chaotic world. There were many shops in the city, such as alchemy shops, weapon refineries, restaurants, teahouses, and even playhouses and brothels. However, the cultivation environment was different. The cultivators in the god world were stronger. It was almost impossible to find anyone below the king realm in the city. Experts in the god realm could be seen everywhere. Divine crystals were similar to the spirit stones in the chaotic world, but they contained more energy and were more valuable. After entering the city, the penniless Night Sorrow found a shop and sold a few half-step god realm beast cores for 200 divine crystals. He bought some books and maps of the god world. Only now did Yi Shang understand just how strong Ling Yun and the Zifu Divine Lord were, and just how great the gap was between them. He knew just how many cultivation levels he would have to cross in 800 years. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. As for how to treat Yi Linghuan, Lin Piaomiao, and Yi Xiaoluo, Night Sorrow didn't find out. The most important thing now is how to get a god realm cultivation technique. Without an immortal realm cultivation method, it was naturally impossible to increase one's cultivation. Sitting in a restaurant, Yi Shang listened to the stories of many legendary figures and thought about the first step he should take after arriving in the immortal realm. In the center of High Base City, there was a huge cultivator market. Not only were there all kinds of shops in the market, there were also stalls. This made Yi Shang think back to his initial experience in the heaven realm. He secretly thought that with his ability to concoct pills, refine tools, and set up formations, he would be able to quickly accumulate experience. An even faster way to earn resources was to accept missions from the Wuji Pavilion or the Umbra Hall. The rewards for accepting missions from the Mercenary Guild in High Base City were not as good as those 2 places. However, he could get some points from the guild and get a corresponding discount when exchanging for items in the future. Chapter 2365. The market in High Base City was called the Sea and Sky Bazaar. There were all kinds of shops. There were nearly 100,000 stalls for cultivators to set up stalls, so there were many empty spots. When they arrived at the bazaar, Night Sorrow found a white-robed law enforcement captain named Lu Jiangtian. He handed over 100 divine crystals and successfully signed a 1-year lease contract. The owner of the Sea and Sky Bazaar was Shengguan Yun, the city lord of High Bay City. The bazaar was the same as High Bay City. There was a law enforcement team. If there was a dispute, they could use force, but there had to be a valid reason. In addition, there was a commission and other related matters. Even if they paid the rent, they had to hand over 10% of the earned resources. It's easy to earn resources as a city lord, But it's a bit despicable to squeeze low-level cultivators to make money. Knight Sorrow couldn't help but mutter in his heart as he was led to the stall by a king realm attendant. If he were the city lord, he wouldn't take the 10% bonus. Although the Feather God and the Supreme God were both in the immortal realm, they were two completely different realms. Knight Sorrow didn't like the city lord's behavior. After all, he was no match for him. Oh, there's a newcomer. He's a mid-level immortal realm expert. As soon as Knight Sorrow arrived at the stall, a yellow-robed old man at the left side of the stall looked at him with interest. This yellow-robed old man was half a step away from the immortal realm. He had a sage-like appearance and was setting up a fortune-telling stall. He asked with a smile, "Sir, you're an immortal realm expert. Why are you still here?" There weren't many immortal realm experts setting up stalls in the Sea and Sky Bazaar. There were less than 100 people, but there were many who ran shops. "I'm Knight Sorrow. I've just cultivated to the Feather God realm and came out of the wilderness. I'm short of resources, so I have no choice but to set up a stall here. Brother, just call me by my name. It's my first time here, please take care of me." Yi Shang politely replied as he didn't slap a smiling face. "Lord Knight Sorrow, ignore that old bastard. He's nicknamed Old Swindler. He's a middle-level feather god and likes to pretend to be weak to take advantage of others. Swindling, whatever." At this moment, a fat cultivator who looked to be in his 20s was standing at a stall to the right of Knight Sorrow. His cultivation level was half a step away from immortal state. His stall was selling miscellaneous items such as books, elixirs, tools, materials, and herbs. However, the quality of the items was mediocre. Bah! How could you say that? I, Xian Jizi, was born with a kind heart. How am I a swindler? The old man, Xian Jizi, retorted. It's fine. It's fate that brought us together. How should I address you, brother? Knight Sorrow asked casually. However, the name Xian Jizi reminded him of an old friend, and he quickly recovered. "Lord Knight Sorrow. My name is Neopatian, a human form of the Yao clan," the fat cultivator replied respectfully. "Brother, your name is quite domineering. You don't have to stand on ceremony. Just call me by my name like you do. Why don't you two try the wine I brought from my hometown?" Knight Sorrow took out 2 jars of wine brewed by Aoi from his storage space and gave them to Xian Jizi and Neopatian. He was not in a hurry to set up his stall because Knight Sorrow was using his divine sense to observe the market. He was investigating the stalls selling elixirs, weapons, and array formations. He wanted to understand the basic market conditions and find a suitable price. Good wine. Although this wine was brewed in a primitive way, it's strong enough. It's a wine for men. I like it. Neopatian gulped down the wine and praised. It's indeed good wine. It's hard to find such pure wine in the immortal realm. Xian Jizi sighed and asked, "Brother Knight Sorrow, what are you going to sell?" "Selling my skills? I'm just trying to get something for nothing." Knight Sorrow, who had finished drinking the wine in the jar, was almost done with his research. He wrote on the stall, "Immortal Realm Alchemist, Weapon Refiner, Array Formation Master. We accept all kinds of business at a discounted price." There were less than 100 Immortal Realm cultivators setting up stalls in the Ocean Sky Grand Bazaar. Among them, there were very few Immortal Realm alchemists, weapon refiners, and array formation masters. The competition was not fierce, and Knight Sorrow's price was reasonable. The Immortal Realm alchemy and array formation business required the buyer to provide the blueprint, so the price was very low. It was 21%, which meant that the buyer provided 2 sets of materials and guaranteed 1 set of finished products. If both sets of materials failed, the buyer would have to pay the full price. The Immortal Realm alchemy and array formation business and all weapon refiners business were 31%. As long as the materials were in place, the weapon refiner could make a divine artifact. There was no need for blueprints. It was related to the weapon refiner's cultivation and attributes. Oh. Brother Knight's Sorrow, you're a immortal realm alchemist, weapon refiner, and array formation master. Amazing, amazing. With your skills, you can go to the City Lord Mansion and have a good future. Why are you setting up a stall here? Xianjizi's eyes flashed. A immortal realm cultivator like Knight's Sorrow had a bright future. He wanted to make friends with him. I'm a lazy person by nature, and I don't want to be controlled. I like to be free and unrestrained, Knight's Sorrow said with a smile. That makes sense. Neopodian nodded in agreement. In fact, he was the same as Xianjizi. He didn't have any background, but he was happy to be free. Xianjizi continued, that makes sense. But Brother Knight's Sorrow, everyone likes to find familiar faces to do alchemy and weapon refiners. You're new here, so I'm afraid business won't be easy. That's true. Everything is difficult at the beginning. On the first day of Knight's Sorrow's stall, many cultivators came to check and ask about it, but no business took place. It was still the same on the second day. On the third day, Xianjizi finished reading a cultivator's fortune and walked to Knight's Sorrow. He smiled and said, Brother Knight's Sorrow. What do you think? I'll provide you with a set of materials. Can you help your elder brother improve the quality of this compass? If it can be improved to the immortal realm, I won't have to worry about business in the future. If it can't be improved, I won't need you to compensate me. Old liar, when did you become so generous? You're not planning something again, are you? Neopodian was immediately suspicious. When he first came to the market, Xianjizi had almost cheated him of all his wealth. Scram, what do you know? Xianjizi replied angrily and explained, Brother Knight's Sorrow, you don't need to think too much. I just want to form good karma. Okay. I'll take it. To Knight's Sorrow, who didn't have any immortal realm materials, this was undoubtedly a timely help. He remembered this favor and agreed without hesitation. These are the materials I need. Outer realm frost iron, dragon tortoise shell, infinite mysterious ice jade, Xianjizi was overjoyed. To him, this was killing two birds with one stone. Brother Knight's Sorrow. I've accumulated some immortal realm materials, but I don't need them for now. I'll give them to you for practice. Neopodian knew Xianjizi's character well. He was completely powerless, so he immediately joined in. What are you doing here? Chapter 2366. Alright, since it's your kind intentions, I'll accept them. Knight's Sorrow was not a greedy person. However, the materials that Neopodian gave him were purple gold divine stones. They were just enough to upgrade the 8-dragon cauldron. The 8-dragon cauldron was Knight's Sorrow's treasure. It was necessary to upgrade it to the divine grade. He had to accept the materials and owe them a favor. I wonder how difficult it is to upgrade the 8-dragon cauldron in the divine world. After all, this was Knight's Sorrow's first time forging an artifact in the god realm, so he could only feel his way through. However, he soon discovered that without the suppression of the divine Tao regulations, the difficulty of forging a divine artifact wasn't too high. Soon, the 8-dragon cauldron, which had been upgraded to a quasi-divine artifact, was forged. It was called a quasi-divine grade artifact because a real divine grade artifact had to go through a lightning tribulation. After a while, tribulation clouds gathered in the sky. The heavenly tribulation lightning struck one after another. What Xianjizi and Neopodian did not expect was that the 8-dragon cauldron would receive 3 lightning tribulation clouds. It turned out that they had enough materials. In addition, Knight's Sorrow had the spacetime attribute. During the refining process, he added the spacetime attribute to the 8-dragon cauldron. Among the 3 lightning tribulations, the first one was for the divine grade artifact. The second and third ones were for the spacetime attribute and the spacetime attribute. 3 lightning tribulations. Xianjizi and Neopodian were excited. It's done. Seeing the lightning tribulation, Knight's Sorrow was overjoyed. Others might be afraid of the lightning tribulation, but he was not. He carried the 8-dragon cauldron and soared into the sky. Awesome! It's a pity that the lightning tribulation is too weak. Night Sorrow had cultivated the myriad Daos treasured tome and strengthened his body with the everlasting body tempering art. It was not difficult for him to withstand the lightning tribulation with his body. He passed the lightning tribulation quickly. However, the 8-dragon cauldron was upgraded after the lightning tribulation. It did not have much to do with him. Night Sorrow's strength did not improve. Brother Night Sorrow. Come, take this divine grade Shi replenishing pill. After Night Sorrow passed the lightning tribulation, Xian Jizi immediately took out a pill. Brother Night Sorrow. Come, take this divine grade pill from me. Neopodian took out a divine grade pill as well. There's no need for the pill. I'm fine. Yi Shang wasn't the type to take advantage of others. Since he had nothing to do, he naturally wouldn't accept their kindness. After adjusting his breathing for a while, Yi Shang stood up and roared, "Cauldron, come." The 8-dragon cauldron, which had fallen to the ground, suddenly let out a dragon's roar and flew in front of Yi Shang to help him refine Xian Jizi's compass. This time, the crowd was several times more than before. After all, it was rare to see a blacksmith who could forge 3 Thunder Tribulation divine tools in front of everyone. What they didn't know was that Night Sorrow only added the space and time attributes because he didn't have enough raw materials and also because he was hiding his true abilities. He had the beginning and reincarnation attributes, the 2 taboo attributes. If he really went all out, who knew what kind of effect he could produce? In order to upgrade Xian Jizi's compass, Night Sorrow also added the space and time attributes. However, transcending the tribulation was Xian Jizi's business. After that, Xian Jizi took the compass and went through the tribulation together. He was not as domineering as Night Sorrow, who had used all of his trump cards to barely pass through the tribulation lightning. His body had almost been shattered. Ha ha ha. I, Xian Jizi, actually have 3 Thunder Tribulation feathers. And it's even fused with the time and space attributes. Brother Night Sorrow, quickly accept a bow from your big brother. Xian Jizi cut a sorry figure after being struck by the lightning tribulation, but he was quite excited. After getting up, he bowed to Night Sorrow. The strength of a divine artifact of the feather god level depended on how many lightning tribulations it had to go through. Under normal circumstances, the highest was 9 lightning tribulations, but a forbidden divine artifact could go beyond that. Brother, you don't have to be so polite with me. Night Sorrow helped Xian Jizi up, then looked at the envious Neopodian and said, Brother Podian, no need to be envious. When I have accumulated enough materials, I will also refine a divine artifact for you. But your cultivation is only half a step away from the immortal state now. I'm afraid that the divine artifact might not be easy to use. Neopodian looked to be about 20 years old, but he had been cultivating for many years. Night Sorrow really could not call him brother. Thank you, Brother Night Sorrow. Podian will work hard to improve his cultivation. Neopodian did not mind. He felt that the strong were respected. After thanking him, he said in a low voice, Brother Night Sorrow, you are very resourceful. Your business will definitely not be bad. But you have to be careful of the white-robed law enforcement captain, Lu Jiangtian. He is a master who eats people without spitting out the bones. Thank you for the reminder. Night Sorrow did not pay too much attention to it. In the world of cultivators, news spread very quickly. Today, he had refined 3 Thunder Tribulation divine artifacts, which would definitely bring him a lot of fame. Even if he did not stay in the Sea Sky Bazaar, business would still come to him. He was not afraid of the law enforcement at all. Then, Xian Jizi entered the space world of the compass and used the time acceleration to heal his injuries. Neopodian decided to close his stall and help Yi Chang. Although he looked fat, he was very professional when it came to taking orders and settling accounts. He didn't make any mistakes. With the promotion of 3 Thunder Tribulation divine artifacts, Night Sorrow's business was very good. He did not stop refining for 9 months. He refined 4 Thunder Tribulation Divine Artifacts with 3 Thunder Tribulation Divine Artifacts, 7 Thunder Tribulation Divine Artifacts with 2 Thunder Tribulation Divine Artifacts, and more than 10 Thunder Tribulation Divine Artifacts with 1 Thunder Tribulation Divine Artifact. As for those below the immortal level, he could not count them. Alchemy business was all for elixirs below the immortal level because no one was willing to take out the blueprints of immortal level elixirs. As for array formation business, he did not receive any. Whether it was refining or refining elixirs, Night Sorrow's success rate was 100%. He had accumulated a lot of immortal level materials. He estimated that these materials were enough to set up a feather god level defensive array formation in the valley. He only lacked the immortal level blueprints and a complete set of immortal level demon beast bones. The immortal level demon beast bones were not necessary to set up an array, but it was equivalent to having another immortal level demon beast guarding the mountain. It was very necessary to get one. Do you know how to find a complete set of immortal level demon beast bones? It would be best if they were of the upper feather god level, and even better if they were of the high god level. Also, what is the price of the immortal level blueprints? After 9 months of continuous work, Night Sorrow, who had exhausted his energy, stopped taking orders and prepared to rest for a few days. He would return to the valley to take a look and send some cultivation resources to his clansmen. Before he left, he would make some preparations. Immortal level blueprints and complete sets of immortal level demon beast bones are rare in High Bay City. They may appear in the auction house occasionally, but the price is quite expensive. Xian Jizi explained and continued, especially the immortal level blueprints. Every time they appear, they will be auctioned for a sky-high price, even higher than immortal level cultivation techniques. After a few months of interaction, Xian Jizi and Neopodian understood that Night Sorrow did not have any immortal level crystals on him. He did not even have any immortal level cultivation techniques or absolute arts. All he had were the materials he obtained from refining equipment. He was not very rich, so it was not easy to get at immortal level blueprints or immortal level demon beast bones. It seems like it is not easy to set up a immortal level defensive array formation. Night Sorrow muttered to himself. In fact, it was not only the immortal level blueprints that were hard to obtain. The various forces, sects, and clans in the divine world all valued cultivation techniques, absolute arts, and elixir recipes very highly. Master Night Sorrow, do you need a complete set of immortal level demon beast bones and immortal level blueprints? This one may be able to help. Chapter 2367. How should I address you? Night Sorrow asked as he sized up the male cultivator. He was a high-tier feather god. I am Situlai. I have come to bring you a great opportunity, Grandmaster Night Sorrow. The male cultivator cupped his hands. What opportunity? Yi Shan asked. He didn't believe that there was such a thing as a free lunch. At that moment, Xian Jizi used a secret technique to send a message to Night Sorrow. Brother Night Sorrow. This Situlai is a subordinate of High God Styx. In the past 30 years, High God Styx has recruited many feather gods. These feather god realm loose cultivators all disappeared after being recruited. Don't promise Situlai anything. There's such a thing. It seems that this so-called great opportunity is actually a great danger. Night Sorrow was on guard, but he didn't reject Situlai directly. Instead, he asked, Brother Situ, what is this great opportunity you speak of? You can tell me directly. Wu Ling concubine had been taken away, and Yi Linghuan, Lin Piaomiao, and Yi Xiaoluo were still waiting for treatment. Yi Shang, who was desperate for resources, wanted to hear what had happened. Of course, I can be frank. Situlai nodded slightly and sent a message to Night Sorrow. Grandmaster Night Sorrow, I won't hide it from you. My Lord Styx discovered a cave abode 30 years ago. This cave abode was left behind by the divine Lord Jinyuan. His inheritance is not to be underestimated. However, the divine Lord Jinyuan set up a special restriction that only feather gods can enter. It was my Lord Styx's idea to bring you here. Are the wandering cultivators of the divine feather realm who have gone missing in recent years related to this cave? Yi Shang asked directly. That's true. It was because of the sacrifice of these feather gods that my lord was able to learn about the cave abode. Situ Lai explained, then continued, the divine Lord Jin Yuan is not only powerful, but he is also skilled in formations and alchemy. His inheritance is very rich. There is more than one set of divine-level Yao skeletons here. As for the divine feather realm cultivators who had died in the cave abode, they were only there to test the waters. The strongest among them was only a mid-level divine feather realm cultivator, and there was no formation master among them. The next time they entered, there would be a dozen or so high-tier feather gods leading the team, as well as several array masters. If Master Knight Sorrow joins us, our chances of success will be much higher. If I go, what's the reward? How should we distribute the resources we found? Situ Lai talked non-stop. He was a powerful lobbyist. Knight Sorrow had to admit from the bottom of his heart that the pill formulas and array diagrams were very tempting to him. If he could really find a divine lord-level pill formula, then maybe there would be a way to heal Yi Linghuan, Lin Piaomiao, and Yi Xiaoluo's injuries. The issue of rewards and resource allocation is decided by my high god sticks. I'm just a lobbyist. However, at the end of the day, rewards and resources were distributed according to one's ability. If Master can display extraordinary abilities in front of my lord, then the reward will be very generous. In Situ Lai's eyes, Knight Sorrow was only a low-level divine feather realm cultivator. His strength was negligible. His value was reflected in alchemy and formations. Breaking into the cave abode of others was very dangerous, so alchemists and formation masters were very useful. Knight Sorrow naturally understood the meaning behind his words. He was also happy that his strength was ignored. The more he was underestimated, the harder it was for him to be targeted. After pondering for a moment, Knight Sorrow said, I understand. I need to think about it seriously. I'll give you an answer in a month. Good. In a month, I'll bring you to see Lord Styx. If you need anything, Master Knight Sorrow can tell my lord. Goodbye. Situ Lai saw that things were looking good. He left behind a message crystal and left happily. The world was bustling with activity for profit, and it was even more so for cultivators. Situ Lai believed that Knight Sorrow would not reject him in the end. Brother Knight Sorrow, you mustn't be rash. With your ability, you can easily establish yourself in High Bay City. There's no need to take risks. I heard that High God Styx is temperamental and has a bad reputation. Cooperating with him is like asking a tiger for its skin. After Situ Lai left, Knight Sorrow told Xian Jizi and Niu Padian about this matter. Xian Jizi's expression immediately became serious. Niu Padian also said worriedly, there are so many divine feather realm cultivators in High Bay City, but Situ Lai chose you. There must be something fishy about this. I'll consider this matter carefully. Also, I'll be leaving for a few days. If there's any business, please help me take it. Knight Sorrow understood that Situ Lai came to him because he had the ability to refine pills, set up formations, and break formations. Moreover, he was a loose cultivator and was easy to control. Knight Sorrow was naturally inclined to go, but in the end, he still had to meet High God Styx to make a decision. After leaving the stall, Knight Sorrow went to the cultivator's shop to sell some of the divine-grade materials. He bought materials to upgrade the Clear Sky Pagoda, Blood Shield and Evil Slaying Spear, and Reincarnation Halberd, as well as cultivation resources suitable for cultivators below the divine realm. The Clear Sky Pagoda, Blood Shield and Evil Slaying Spear, and Reincarnation Halberd were divine artifacts in the lower realm. However, due to the suppression of the heavenly Tao, there was a big gap between them and true divine artifacts. After buying the materials, Knight Sorrow stepped on the road back to the valley. If he went to explore the cave, he did not know when he would return. He had to inform his clansmen first and give them cultivation resources at the same time. On the way back, in a remote mountain, Knight Sorrow used 9 days to upgrade the Clear Sky Pagoda, Blood Shield and Evil Slaying Spear, and reincarnation halberd into true divine artifacts. The clear sky pagoda was a fusion of time and space attributes. It was a divine artifact with 3 thunder tribulation feathers. The blood Chelan evil slaying spear was a fusion of time, space, life, and death attributes. It was a combination of time, space, life, and death attributes. It was a divine artifact with 5 thunder tribulation feathers. As for the reincarnation halberd, it was a fusion of reincarnation attributes. It was a combination of destruction, time, and infinity attributes. Because it was a taboo attribute, it was a divine artifact with 10 thunder tribulation feathers. Knight Sorrow used his body to withstand the thunder tribulation of the clear sky pagoda and blood Chelan evil slaying spear. However, the thunder tribulation of the reincarnation halberd caused him to suffer light injuries. However, the injuries were not serious. He recovered quickly in the clear sky pagoda. Not good. Someone is attacking the valley. On this day, when there was still some distance from the valley, Knight Sorrow suddenly felt his heart palpitate. He could feel that someone was destroying the defensive formation. The attacker should be a divine realm cultivator. He immediately used the void step spacetime realm. At this time, outside the valley, a middle-level feather god with a pale face was breaking the formation with brute force. He was wearing bright clothes and had an evil smile on his face. He shouted, "Little ladies, don't be afraid without the protection of a divine realm expert. In the future, I, Shangguan Lin, will be your backer." Just now, Datura and Shueshi brought a few juniors to drink tea in the valley. Shangguan Lin, who was passing by in the air, just happened to see them. He was immediately shocked. Evil thoughts immediately arose in his heart. He did not know about formations, so he attacked with brute force. What to do? This person is a divine realm expert. We can't resist at all. The formation that husband set up probably won't last long either. Chapter 2368. Auntie, don't be afraid. We men will hold them off. Auntie and sisters, take the women and escape first. Yi Xiaokei was Knight Sorrow's youngest child, but he didn't back down at this crucial moment. He stood in front of them full of fighting spirit. Yes. Auntie, leave first. Yi Lingxi wasn't good with words, but she stood out as well. What are you running for? The women of the Yi family aren't afraid of death. At most, we'll die to show our sincerity. Your father will avenge us. The hot-tempered Yang Lei roared. Yes. At most, we'll die. Let's fight it out with this fellow. Yi Qingyan agreed. Ha ha ha. Show our sincerity with death? You won't have such a chance. Next, I'll show you the power of a god. Accompanied by wild laughter, a hole was blasted in the formation. Shangguan Lin appeared in front of everyone in the blink of an eye. He released his god-level vital energy, causing everyone to be unable to stand up, let alone attack. The Divine Feather Realm was much stronger than the Divine Soul Unification Realm or the Imperial Tribulation Realm. They were on a completely different level. That day, Lin Piaomiao and Yi Xiaolua were able to attack because he didn't release his aura. Today, under Shangguan Lin's pressure, the Night Moon clan members truly felt the difference between them. If we don't die, we must become stronger. Yi Xiaokei clenched his teeth. We're not ants. We can't just be a burden. Yi Lingxi was the same. Actually, this was also the voice of the Yi family members. They were extremely glorious in the lower world. How could they tolerate a life of being bullied? Even if this was the divine world, they couldn't. Beautiful. This beauty has the spirit of a king who covets the world. Shangguan Lin smiled evilly at Datura, then looked greedily at Yi Xiaolei. This one is not bad either. She has a stubborn spirit. I like to tame this kind of unruly person. Looking at them one by one, Shangguan Lin praised, beautiful, so beautiful. All of them are outstanding beauties. Today, I have more than 10 beauties to enjoy. I'm blessed. Sikong Chuyu, Xue Shi, and the others who were swept by Shang Guanlin's gaze felt as if they had goosebumps all over their bodies. They felt extremely uncomfortable, but they had no ability to resist. They couldn't even die even if they wanted to. This made them feel helpless. Shameless bastard. Yi Shang's father, Yi Wuyo, was suppressed to the point where he had to burn his essence blood before cursing. Shameless after a few glances? Beast after a few words? Next, I'll show you what a real shameless beast is. Shang Guanlin laughed evilly. What do you want? SSST test. Who are you? He's, uses, STSTSTST. Spoil your plans? You can say that because you're going to die today. He had been humiliated by Ling Yun as soon as he had arrived in the God realm. From that moment on, Yi Shang, who had been extremely depressed, had sworn that he would not let any harm come to his family. If he had not coincidentally returned today, the consequences would have been unimaginable. His anger had already exploded uncontrollably. Night Sorrow didn't want to waste his breath on this beast. He used the void steps to teleport in front of his people, condensed his vital energy, and attacked with the blood Qilin evil slaying spear. You're overestimating yourself. Since you're looking for death, I'll deal with you first before taking care of these beauties. Shang Guanlin didn't panic in the face of Night Sorrow's attack. He took out a long halberd from his spatial artifact and faced it head-on. As a mid-level feather god, Shang Guanlin had absolute confidence in himself. He didn't believe that this low-level feather god could compete with him in terms of strength. You're looking for death. Do you think you're fit to call yourself Lord? Night Sorrow said disdainfully when he saw that Shang Guanlin chose to meet force with force. He didn't know any god-tier secret arts, but he had two forbidden attributes. His body had cultivated the 10,000 Tao Tome, and he had the power of merit to protect him. His strength and body were far stronger than ordinary low-level feather gods. Boom! Both of them chose to use their strength to attack. After the collision, Shang Guanlin's body flew backward rapidly and was directly blasted out of the valley. How can this be? His strength is so terrifying. Is he still a low-level feather god? Shang Guanlin was shocked as he flew backward. He didn't expect the difference in strength between them to be so great. This person's strength is extraordinary. I'm afraid he's on par with some high-level feather gods. I have to use my treasure to fight or use my secret arts. You want to use your secret arts? It's too late. Night Sorrow had fought all the way from Bamboo Garden Village to the Divine World. He had rich combat experience and wouldn't give his opponent any chance. He used the blood Qilin evil slaying spear's attributes to attack. Spacetime destruction / immeasurable clock. Protect. Shang Guanlin, who wanted to counterattack, could only summon a defensive treasure to defend himself. Shang Guanlin, who was passively defending, didn't expect that spacetime destruction / was just a feint. When he used the immeasurable clock to protect himself with two thunder tribulation feathers, Night Sorrow sneered and used the Samsara halberd to launch a fatal attack. I'll let you feel the power of the forbidden reincarnation. The Samsara halberd, which had been upgraded to the 10 thunder tribulation feathers, could directly attack the divine soul. Without foundation and support in the divine world, Night Sorrow felt that he couldn't give his opponent any chance to ask for help in the battle. Without hesitation, he directly used his strongest trump card and shattered Shang Guanlin's divine soul in one move. This is the power of the forbidden attribute, the power of reincarnation. Shang Guanlin realized that he had offended a ruthless person. This was no ordinary low-level feather god at all. With his divine soul shattered and his life in danger, Shang Guanlin's face was ashen. He begged for mercy, "Sir, please spare my life. I'm the cousin of Shang Guanyun, the city lord of Hai Bei City. I'll compensate you for today's offense. Any amount of divine crystals will do." You want compensation? That's easy. Just destroy your divine soul. Night Sorrow would never show mercy to those who touched his reverse scale. He used the samsara halberd again. Before he died, Shangguan Lin roared, "The Shangguan family will not let you go. You can't escape the Shangguan family's investigation if you kill me. You bullied my family. Even if the Divine King or the Juggernaut himself came, I, Night Sorrow, would still kill you. You're just a mid-level feather god in my eyes." As soon as Night Sorrow finished speaking, the energy from the samsara halberd blasted Shangguan Lin, who had lost his protective chi, into pieces. A spatial artifact? Night Sorrow discovered that Shangguan Lin's spatial artifact was left behind. After checking, he found that Shangguan Lin was quite rich. Not to mention the immeasurable bell and the evil dragon halberd, there were no less than 50,000 divine crystals overflowing with spiritual energy. There were also various elixirs and refining materials piled up, including 3 divine-grade teleportation crystals. There were no divine-grade cultivation techniques or elixir recipes, but there were 5 or 6 bottles of divine-grade elixirs. However, to Night Sorrow's surprise, there was a divine-grade array diagram. There was also a black diamond-shaped token made of an unknown material. Night Sorrow did not figure out the use of this token, so he kept it in his spatial artifact. "I really have to thank you." Night Sorrow thought. You're tuning into the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.